Ready, go. We're recording.
We're recording. So, you gave somebody homework and invited them
did.
back. So why don't you explain what you did?
Cathan's here again, and I gave him
Notes.
3 or 4 episodes of ours to listen.
3.
3.
Yeah.
Yours, the question and answer one, and the vulnerability one.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. So where do you
I
want to
did
start?
my homework.
I mean, I guess we don't have to jump in right there.
No,
but that
I
is the
was just
homework that I gave.
explaining.
Yeah, that was-
Oh, the
everyone-
trinket. Did you bring the trinket?
I did. It's in my car.
Okay,
I remember.
perfect.
I even texted. I put it
I
in
know.
the group
You
Don't
chat.
did
let
put
me
it in the
forget.
text.
Yeah, it's in my car. It's a little, looks like a Spartan helmet, like Roman helmet
Oh,
that
nice.
Lila got me when she was in
cool,
Italy.
Cool.
That's cool. So what didn't happen on the podcast is I gave Cathan a book to read.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I'm just curious if you started it.
I have. I'm like 2 chapters in.
Okay.
Because like I'm
Can't
very
wait to
much
hear you
when
think
I'm
about it.
when I'm at work, it's very much like Audible. I'm half tempted to just bring you the book back and just get it on Audible, but I didn't bring it. But yeah, I'm like,
regard.
I can probably do some reading that. I got to stay up all night tonight for work. I work tomorrow night,
Ooh, gross.
so I could probably chew through it tonight.
It's not a like hurry and read it kind of thing. I was just curious if you'd start.
Yeah, I think I'm 2 chapters
Nice.
in, and it's interesting.
Yes, it is. It's an
It
interesting
is,
book.
yeah. Well, it's like I said, it kind of vibes with what I'd said before about being an atheist is depressing as fuck.
Yep.
Because, like I said, you've got to accept the fact that we're here, we pay bills, and then we die, and then there's nothing.
What's the book called again?
I don't have enough faith to be an atheist.
Mhm.
An atheist. And what, like, give a TLDR of the first 2 chapters?
First 2 chapters are just kind of explaining the premise of the book.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like what he's going to delve into later and
Gotcha.
why he doesn't have enough faith to be an atheist. And it's true. Like I said, you've got to, like I said, it was a lot of the coincidences that have happened over the last 2 years. Like for me to still be an atheist would be me actively just rejecting what I'm seeing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like you don't just accidentally fall into 2 houses in a row. One of them cheaper than the one you're in, and then 3 days after you're finding out you're going to save $300 a month, you get a raise at work.
And one that you wouldn't have gotten into if you hadn't stopped smoking.
Exactly. Yeah, one that and that was the not smoking thing it was a lot like my sobriety. It was just like I woke up one day and I'm like, dude, I don't want to do this anymore. And like, it wasn't one of my kids telling me, Dad, I wish you'd quit, because they have been, I think they gave up on trying to help me quit
Mhm.
smoking. The thing was, first off, it's almost like $10 for a pack of cigarettes now.
Gross.
I think the last time I bought a pack of cigarettes, it was like $8.50 a
Oy.
pack.
That's disgusting.
And like, I don't have great teeth anyways, because I knocked 2 of them out trying to fucking kill myself. So like, I'm going to have to get fake teeth eventually anyways. Like, I don't want to expedite that if I don't fucking have to, because that insurance ain't covering that. That shit ain't cheap. It's like, I think the estimate I got from someone up here in one of the places up here in Casper is basically $1,200 a tooth.
Your insurance wouldn't cover that?
Mm-mm. No, because it's cosmetic. The teeth I'm missing are not inhibiting me from
I see.
eating. They're not causing me any health issues or anything like that. So it would be a cosmetic decision. So health insurance wouldn't cover it.
Got it.
Insurance
What?
is just a
Oh.
joke.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Doing over there.
Can't make that shit up.
My brain is not okay.
But yeah, like that, I wouldn't have been able to get that house if I still smoked. And I
Mhm.
quit smoking. I think I was like 200-300 days in before
Right.
that house. And I didn't know that house was an option until my buddy Frankie just happened to be looking at
Right.
it and then called me. Like the shit lining up. Again, like I said, to still be an atheist and to not think there's something grander, whether it's, and I don't mean to sound like a dick when I say this, but like whether it's a guy in the sky with a beard directing shit directly, or whether it's just like I said, the universe unfolding as it should type shit. To not think that there's something at hand, I think, like I said, would be looking at the evidence and just actively ignoring it.
Yeah, fair. Well, let's do your episode first. Do you have any notes on?
Oh, yeah.
Because I know we all have talked about, oh, I should have said that. I should have said this. I should have said
Yeah, there
that.
were a couple of things like that. One of them, you'd asked me what being a healthy man means, and then like we did what I did, and we like sidetracked, meandered. I think I got like 2 bits in, and then we were off somewhere else.
Right.
But it ties into the episode. Was it the vulnerability one where I got brought up? Yeah, it was. So I texted both of you this already, but the kind things you guys said about me, like it made me emotional at work to listen to the shit. Like I had to park on the dump and like get my shit together for like 5 minutes. Because like I said, you didn't just make me feel like I'm an interesting person to talk to or someone fun to hang around with. Your bit, especially about me respecting your boundaries, made me feel like I'm a safe dude to be around. And like I said in the text messages, as a father of 3 daughters, you don't get a better compliment than that. You know what I mean? And so hold on. There we go. So I wanted to touch more on being a healthy man, because being a healthy man means being a safe man to be around, particularly for females. You know what I
I
mean?
think that's fair.
And to be a safe man, you've got to be a fucking vulnerable one. You've got to be in touch with you've got to understand who you are as a person, the good and the bad, to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And you've got to own the fact that you've got shitty parts of your personality and shitty behavior traits that you've got to constantly be working on.
Absolutely.
And so to be healthy, I think I said on the episode I was on, you've got to be emotionally intelligent or emotionally available. You've got to be honest and transparent. And like I said, and I think I got a note on that about you guys mentioned the 2 addicts, 2 recovering addicts said that there's a difference between honesty and transparency.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's a fucking accident.
No, it's definitely not.
You know what I mean? But you've got to be honest, you've got to be transparent, and you've got to be a healthy man, you've got to take radical accountability for yourself. And you've got to be radically self-aware. And you've got to practice radical self-love. Because if you don't love yourself, you're not going to be able to love someone else in a healthy way. Does that make sense?
It does. I don't know how I feel about that statement. Like that sentiment in general. I just don't know how I feel about that. You can't love someone until you love someone else. Or you can't love someone else until you love yourself.
I mean, you can. You absolutely can, but it's not going to be in a way that's healthy for everybody involved. If you've got, because like when I say you've got to love yourself, I mean that in the sense that I was someone who was dealing with a lot of self-loathing. So like I hated who I was. The thing, and Steve-O, the dude from Jackass, has said this on his podcast. The thing with being an alcoholic and an addict is you are uncomfortable in your own fucking skin.
So define self-love, loving yourself.
Self-love is accepting yourself for who you are, the good and the bad, and not punishing yourself for the bad. It's acknowledging the good things about yourself while also acknowledging the fact that you've got shit you can work on to make yourself a better version of yourself, but not shitting on yourself or punishing yourself for those negatives.
Do you have any thoughts on that? I point at Amber.
Yeah. That's actually countercultural to self-love that is portrayed like everywhere.
What's countercultural to self?
Cathan's statement.
Oh.
Because right now it's I have to love myself, I have to put myself first, I have to do everything for myself, and if that can't happen, then I can't love anybody else. Well, I think, but like I mean, like to the point of, I'm going to the spa for self-love.
So what you're saying is what Cathan is saying is countercultural to
what, and I think it's the version that needs to be out there, and not this whole like I just have to care for myself kind of thing.
Well, you guys talked about it on the vulnerability episode, the actual true self, or however that shit's worded. Yeah. People use that whole I'm being true to myself type shit the same way that like fucking rock people and like astrological people use their star sign as a reason that they're a piece of shit.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I feel like we said that on an episode recently.
I mean, we not in those terms, but we talked about it in that way. Yeah.
Because like, and the whole being true to yourself, like I get that because it was something I went through in recovery. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because for a long time, like I was not being my true self. Again, we've all seen the cowboy Cathan picture. I'm not a fucking cowboy, and I never fucking was. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's a difference. Like I said, people are using the whole I'm being true to myself type shit as an excuse to be shitty to people. Like, and I was guilty of that, and still am to a certain extent in some aspects, in the sense where, like I tell people, yeah, I'm an asshole, deal with it. I don't need to be an asshole all the time.
Right.
There's a time and a place for it, for sure. But being a dickhead all the time is not a fun way to live. It's fucking exhausting because you're just angry all the time. And so when it comes to, the whole how the fuck did you guys word it on your episode? I should have written it down, but like the actual true self.
The authentic self.
The authentic self.
Yeah, the authentic self versus the spirit silver or holy silver.
Yeah.
We actually, that one comes out Wednesday. We didn't define it.
Oh, that's right.
So you haven't heard that yet.
That's right. That's why I wanted to have you listen. Yeah, that's right. Yep.
But I was like, no, that gives us more for later.
Yes. Yeah. So this episode that will be coming out on the 29th, our Halloween episode, we dive even deeper into the authentic self stuff.
I mean, like I was saying though, like people are using that it's my authentic self to be a shitty version of themselves, because if you're gonna make yourself a better version of yourself and like really do that work, you've got to confront the shitty parts of yourself.
Oh yeah.
And nobody wants to fucking do that. And
so hard.
I don't know why you would want to do it.
Right.
Because it sucks.
It does.
Because you've got to look in a mirror and be like, all right, these are the things I don't like about myself. Why? Because then you've got to dive into why you don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, another thing you've got to do is you've got to look at, all right, I don't like this about society or people or this individual. And then you've got to look at that mirror and be like, all right, what am I projecting with that dislike? And you've got to, the self-work in that sucks dick. No, it's just, like I said, people don't want to do that work. And so they lean into this, I'm being my authentic self, as a shield for them to be shitty.
Yes.
And that goes back into the whole being a healthy man type shit. Because being a healthy man and being a safe man to be around takes a lot of goddamn work, just because of the way society is and what is acceptable society-wise. And the whole thing with talking about, when you get into men, specifically men's mental health and men's mental well-being and shit like that, like it's a fine line, especially like if you're scrolling on TikTok and shit or on social media. It's a fine line between doing that in a healthy and safe way and then landing on Andrew fucking Tate's shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like the wormhole to the rabbit trail to that, it's fucking 2 degrees, dude.
Yeah.
You'll see it on YouTube. Because that, when I first got sober and I first started really diving into recovery, fucking YouTube was my YouTube and TikTok. And it's fucking 2 degrees from men need to talk about their feelings and men need to feel accepted for dealing with their feelings in a healthy way, to fucking Andrew Tate talking about how people should own people and shit.
I don't even know if it's 2 degrees. It is like, it's a razor thin boundary.
So trying to find that fine line so you don't end up in the goddamn men's rights activism space, which is the dumbest goddamn shit, it's hard. There's no... It worries me for my son because he's on YouTube and shit like that. You know what I mean? And luckily he's watching people play video games most of the time, which is a trip to me because he's either playing video games or he's watching people play video games so he can be better at playing video games. And so like I'll always poke my head in just to make sure that he's not getting into this weird...
Well, for as engrossed in the internet as our generation was, it is interesting to me that millennial parents don't seem to understand how easy it is to become radicalized on internet spaces. Like,
well, it's like I was saying, with my trauma, getting bullied as a kid and shit. Like if that happened today,
right?
Oh my God,
I'd have been a Nazi in an hour,
or it would never stopped.
Yeah,
because it would have gone online. Super random. I'll have to ask my friend, but she found an app where you pay like $4 a month or something like that. You connect your YouTube to it or your kids' YouTube and you get to approve of what they watch. So all the stuff, so you can block all of the stuff that could, on both sides of the spectrum, that could radicalize. So it could just be the video game people he watches and any of your kids, your girls too. Like
he's also been super into watching Critical Role, which is Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, great.
And I'm so stoked about that. That makes me happy.
But then you could like safeguard all of that stuff, because you know what happens, like an ad pops up or hey, maybe this video next, or
I was about to say most of it's just that this video next.
And,
a podcast one of the political podcasts I listened to, they did that with QAnon. You know what I mean? And how quickly you go from one certain video to the next thing you're on YouTube and you're down this gnarly hole of aliens and Mount Shasta.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You can start innocently and end up in the weirdest parts of YouTube in like three clicks.
Yeah. And it's a fucking trip. And I think that's how a lot of dudes end up getting into this
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
violent, terrible incel shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have been on an incel forum. It is
vile, dude.
It is horrific.
Yeah. No, it's a fucking hate crime. Like that's what you're looking at. That is what you're reading is a hate crime.
It is.
Because it's violent and it's
men openly calling women toilets. They refer to us as toilets. Men openly talking about how it's okay to have sex with underage girls. Like, it is the worst. I've experienced a lot on the internet. It is one of the worst places on the internet.
This is where time on the internet.
This is where that fucking sentence, "your body, my choice," came from. Is these incel fucking pages. And that's the kind of shit that, like, I want a platform to fight against because, again, I don't just have a son that I'm trying to keep away from that shit. I have 3 fucking daughters.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there are probably dudes that they go to school with who think Andrew Tate's dope as fuck.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, 100%.
And it takes everything in my body not to, like, try and hunt them down and be like, no, dude, like, this shit is terrible. It's scary as fuck. Again, as a father of daughters, like, these fucking psychos are just walking around fucking free, not getting their asses kicked. Because even as someone who got their ass bullied, like, I'm still very much one of those dudes that there's sometimes where I'm thinking they need to bring bullying back for certain fucking people. Because I feel like if some of these dudes got their asses kicked more, they'd shut the fuck up. Because the thing that sucks about social media is it made people okay with talking shit and not getting punched in the fucking mouth for it.
Yeah. This is a crazy thing I've said before, but I am kind of an advocate for kids punching each other in the face.
Yes. Fuck yeah. Because at the very least, we kind of touched on it on my episode where you have the freedom to do and say whatever you want. You are not free from the consequences of those actions.
Oh, yeah. I have a friend in middle school who was bullied relentlessly. And finally, she got sick of it, and she went up to one of the girls who was talking smack and punched her in the face.
Yep.
That was the end of it.
Yeah. I mean, the means might not be fucking real well accepted, but they're fucking effective.
Wow.
It's like we always say in, like, blue collar circles, if it's dumb and it works, it's not dumb. It's the same kind of thing.
That's what we say at my job.
Yeah, if it's stupid and it works, it's not fucking stupid.
Well, this is kind of an ongoing conversation between Amber and I and in our women's Bible study group. It's about the discipline being proportionate to the offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sometimes the proportionate response is getting your snot rocked. Like,
well, and it's like I was saying, I know I said it on my episode, it's like the punching Nazis bit. Like, I say it half jokingly most of the time, but no, it really is okay to punch Nazis because they have an inherently violent ideology. Therefore, they deserve a violent response. I mean, the Nazism is a violent ideology.
I mean, I would push back and say, punch people if they do something. I don't know.
Fuck that. If they throw a Sieg Heil, fucking dead.
I don't know that I agree with punching people just because they think wrong.
Agree to disagree. If they're a fucking Nazi, hit them and hit them fucking hard. One of my favorite videos I ever see on the YouTube is, and it'll still pop up on my TikTok, is that one Nazi getting his shit rocked. The hell was that? I can't remember the dude's name. He was the guy who organized that Unite the Right, that Charlottesville shit.
No idea what you're talking about.
He was one of those main guys, and he was just standing on the street, and some guy just cold cocked him, and it was fucking awesome.
I know. That's not what my TikTok's filled with. My TikTok's filled with the duck song.
Oh, God. I went on the thing where my For You page was nothing but that goddamn lizard for like 2 weeks, man.
Mine was
I don't know what you two are talking about. I don't live on social media anymore.
What else about your episode? Anything?
Oh yeah. The link between my dislike of straight edge kids and organized religion.
Okay.
There's overlap there. And what I got written down on my notes is straight edge / Christianity, love the music / message, hate some of the fans. You know what I mean? Because
I mean, we would agree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like,
yeah, it's some of Jesus' fan club are
weird.
Oh yeah.
If we just watch an episode of a group of those goddamn people.
No.
They're not.
That pastor that I used to hang out with all the time said it had the same thought process, was that they're not Christians.
They're not Christians.
They're not.
Yeah.
And I'll debate a Mormon over it any day. I keep asking for it, and they never come back.
No, because then they would have to confront it goes back to the whole confronting shitty parts about yourself. I don't want to do that.
Month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I was coming over here, and I got Mormoned outside Amber's door.
Oh, God.
And there were 2 kids. One of them I talked to before, and the other one, he could tell. He could tell what was going on, but the one, he was so innocent. He was, like, really trying to just, like, have a conversation with me. We stood there for, like, 5 minutes where I just was, like, poking at, like, what they think and what they're asking or whatever, before the other kid was like, you know what? Thank you for your time. It's like, well, one of you sees what's going on.
So, super random other way they're not Christians. Same group. There's probably 5 or 6 of them that swap off and out and go in twos. Knocked on my door a month ago, not even a month ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, on a Saturday, looking for my neighbor, who happened to be at work. But they had been talking to his like 12, 13-year-old daughter about church outside without daddy around.
Don't like that.
Oh, yeah. Cathan's face is in shock right now. Oh, yeah. They wanted to try to get me to come to church with them.
Mormons are not Christian because they don't believe Jesus is God. That's the bottom line of it.
Yeah.
So they're not Christian. They don't qualify.
So they don't believe in the Trinity? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. What other notes did I have? Oh, yeah. The 2 addicts saying there's a difference between honesty and transparency.
I thought about that a lot.
So I've actually had lots of conversations.
I think a part of that comes from the fact that as someone in recovery, and she has a different recovery journey than I do. But I feel like all recovery journeys are somewhat similar in the sense that you've got to do a lot of self-work.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's where that idea that honesty and transparency are different, because you've got to be transparent with yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? You've got to do a lot of delving in. It's like I talked about, the thing with addiction is you don't ask why the addiction, you ask why the pain.
What would you say to the people listening that think they don't need to do that transparency with themselves, that they can just ignore it and everything's going to be fine?
I would say that that's a very arrogant way to look at things. You know what I mean? No one's better than the worst part of themselves.
What's the benefit in recognizing the worst part of yourself?
The benefit in recognizing the worst part of yourself is the ability to unfuck it. You know what I mean? Like, in becoming the best version of yourself, you're not just benefiting yourself, you're benefiting everybody who's got to deal with your shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Me becoming a better version of myself does, and again, I think I said this, getting sober is an incredibly selfish act, because it's not going to stick if you're not doing it for yourself. If you're not, I couldn't get sober for my kids. I couldn't get sober for my wife. I couldn't get sober. You can't get sober for a fucking job. You've got to do it because you are sick of feeling a certain way. And so when you're confronting the shittier parts of yourself and you're making them better and you're being transparent with yourself about the shitty parts about yourself, you're not just fixing your relationship with yourself. I fixed my relationship with my kids. I fixed my relationship with my parents. I fixed my relationship with people I work with every day. You know what I mean? Even as tangential as that is, they're not my, and some of them might listen to this, you're not my fucking friends. We work together. I don't go out there to make friends. I go out there to get paid and go home. But when you better yourself as an individual and you do that work, you benefit, like I said, everybody's got to deal with your shit because you're
good.
Okay. Because you're affecting the way you interact with people.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, me and Kara talked about this, and me and you talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2 years ago, the episode we had wouldn't have happened because Jess would have been smart enough to not fucking invite me, because it would have been a much different you and me probably would not have talked afterwards.
Probably not.
And you probably wouldn't have posted it. It would have been brutal.
Well, again, I wouldn't have asked you to do it in the first place.
Yeah, because it would have all been from a very angry fucking space.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still parts of me that are still, like my therapist told me, there are still parts of me that are angry at God. And I think that's something that's something I got to deal with on my own internally, because there's still parts of me that are angry at parts of me. You know what I mean? There's still shit I got to deal with on a daily basis. And one thing I always tell people is sobriety is a lot like rent. You know what I mean? Like you got to pay for it every fucking day. You've got to do the work every day. Rent's due every morning. And I'm not one of those, like I said, I was never physically addicted, so I didn't have to deal with shakes or DTs or cravings or anything like that. But I've got to wake up every day and be like, all right, I'm sober today. That's a goddamn good thing. What can I do today to maintain that sobriety? And when I go to bed that night, I've gotten into the practice of saying 3 things I've done for myself to maintain my sobriety and to maintain not being such a dick. Because that's still something I've got to work on. You know what I mean? Like, it would be easy for me to just slide back into old habits and old practices of just treating people like shit.
Yeah.
And that was a wall I was putting up. That was a defense measure. You know what I mean? Because if I treated them like shit, they couldn't hurt me. If I hurt them first, they can't hurt me.
Right.
And God bless the fucking friends that I've had for my entire life that stuck around with all the terrible shit. I don't want to point fingers or name names.
You point
as I point to Jess. But, you know, like Frank and Endon, and I mean, even my fucking parents, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they would still absolutely, like, if I called my dad right now and said I need $150, I would get Venmo'd fucking now.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even ask why. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, dude, I got you. And I know that I'm very lucky, and I'll steal a term from you two. I'm very blessed to have that kind of support network, because a lot of motherfuckers don't. A lot of people are really raw dogging this shit by themselves, where whether they're the children of addicts who also fell into, they can't go. And it's another one of those things, you can't heal where you got sick.
Right. Nope.
You can't get better where made you, which is why I'm getting the fuck out of Wyoming as soon as I can. In 8 years.
8 years.
Yep. Not that I'm counting down or anything.
You got any more thoughts? Or notes? Is that what I dive into?
I do want to elaborate on my beef with AA, in the sense I was very antagonistic towards AA. I don't want people to think that I don't think AA works. It does work for certain people. And if it works for you, fucking A's. You're still in a cult, but it works. Because AA is very, for me personally, but if it works for you, that's great. What else did I have? One thing I wanted to talk about, and I don't, hold on, there was a word, and I didn't know it was the word for it. Perennialism? Perennial philosophy? Look it up. The way I wrote it down in my notes before I found out there was a fucking word for it is,
can you spell it?
Perennialism.
I think I know which vein this falls in.
I mean, the way it worked in my head, and it's funny how this worked out in my head. It all started because, so there's this dude, his name's John Joseph. He was the lead singer of a band called the Cro-Mags. And he got really hardcore into Krishna consciousness in like the 80s and 90s. And this all started because I thought Krishna and Christ, like, it sounded like they had the same cognate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they were based on the same word. And so that kicked off a thought in my head where, well, what if, like, because all the major religions, if you really kind of break them down outside of, you know, who the main prophet is and how to get saved and all that, the main message is don't be a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, be good to people around you. Don't be an asshole. What if it's the same message from the same God, just being given to different people with different cultural lenses?
So we kind of talked about this in Lunchbox episode a little bit. So the way that I have navigated this question, because this is where I sat before I became a Christian.
Yeah.
That is the camp that I was in. I had a moment where I realized all the lies that my ex had told me.
And it's like, I can't believe anything from him. Like, I got to the point where he would say, I love you. And it's like, I don't believe you.
Right.
I can't believe you because of all the lies that you've told me. And that kicked
all the
off,
lies and all the gaslighting.
That kicked off my, I can't think of the word that I want. My scrutiny of Christianity specifically. Because in my mind, the way I thought of it is, if there's a lie in here, I can't trust any of it.
Right.
And that's how I felt about all religions, but I was most, my brain tonight, I was most familiar with Christianity.
Yeah, I was about to say, you went after Christianity because that was the milieu you understood the best. That was the one you had the most comfortability with, yeah.
But I explored this through the lens of a lot of different faiths as well. And I told this to Lunchbox, I have now read the entire Bible, front to back. I mean, we're in the New Testament right now in our Bible study, but I have read most of the Old Testament on my own. So I've now read the Bible front to back by myself. I can't find a lie in it. I can't find anything wrong. And really early on in my Christian walk, I had this like epiphany to do this sort of exercise where I took 52 cards, and like some of them I just tore, some of them I drew a little thing on, and some of them I wrote, this is the right one. And I mixed them all together. And I took it to my mom and I took it to my dad and I said, pick the right one. And of course, my dad shuffles through until he finds one that says, this is the right one. And then my mom shuffled through until she found the card that didn't have anything added to it. She's like, this is the right one. It's like, yes, that's the right one. If step into the mind of a Christian, if you will. If you are Satan and your sole purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy, and you are like raging against God however you can, is it easier to do that by denying that Christianity is true, or to taking the truth and tweaking it just a little bit and dispersing it in like a bunch of different ways so that when it comes down to the silly things that don't matter, people are just arguing about the little differences. But the little differences are what matters. It's that 1 degree off or that 2 degrees off of the path taking you in a completely different direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. I mean, like I said, it's the agnostic in my brain, or the science, the part of my brain that loves logic and an answer that I can, like I said, it's tangible, something I can see, feel, touch, and interact with. That, because you look at certain parts of Islam and you look at certain parts of Judaism and you look at certain parts of Christianity and Buddhism and fucking Hinduism and fucking Zoroastrianism or what the fuck ever. And they've all got a similar vein of don't be a fucking scumbag.
Right.
Just don't treat people like shit. And it's like, okay, what if it's, like I said, what if it's the same message from the same God, just being filtered through different cultural lenses or time periods or spaces?
I mean,
but I get what you're saying.
Right. I think so what you're saying, I think it sort of is to a degree, but especially now with these things, we have all of human knowledge at our fingertips.
Yeah.
So
and people are still using it to fucking do dumb shit.
Yes. So our excuse for ignorance at this point is like pretty much zero.
Yeah.
So if you hear the gospel message, which is that Jesus Christ was born of a virgin, lived a completely sinless life, was fully God and fully man, died on the cross for the atonement of sin, and was resurrected 3 days later, and you are told believing that is the key to the good ending, it is then your responsibility to pick that apart until you can decide for yourself whether it's true or not.
Yeah. Which is, that makes perfect sense.
So that bleeds into, do you have any thoughts? It doesn't bleed into that, but I don't want to like leave you out of this conversation.
You're good. The only thought I have rolling through my head about this is believing the gospel, believing in Jesus, believing in the Bible is not logical. There's no logic to it.
No, that's why you need faith.
That's what I was going to say. So that's why it's called faith. And that's why it can't be logical to go, all of these others are the same God too, because faith is not logical.
Yeah.
It's the same message filtered through broken lenses.
Right.
I would say.
Well, I mean, that's the part where like I cannot I cannot read the Bible as it is today and be like, this is the word of God, because it was written by fucking dudes.
See, you know, okay.
Is
you got to listen to the Lunchbox one, because we talked about this too, and I think I talked about it. I really want to get into the big episode, the
Questions.
the questions episode. It's not trusting. It's not believing God.
Yeah.
No, it's not believing God. That's the problem. It's trusting Him. The Bible is the most authenticated document in the most authenticated ancient document in human history.
Right.
We know with a degree of certainty that nothing else can match that what we have today is what was written thousands of years ago.
Mm.
It's the message that's been passed down over time.
Yeah.
That's not to say there aren't errors.
Right.
That's not to say that humans haven't affected it in some way, but it is the message. The message that is the same. The story is the same.
Mm-hmm.
The message being Jesus.
Yeah.
He's the point of the Bible.
Right.
The Bible is about Jesus. And Jesus he makes a very unique claim in faith, all faiths. Jesus, the claims that Jesus, the story of Jesus is like perverted or adopted from other faiths that are older, it's false. And it doesn't take a lot of digging to figure out that it's false.
The one beef, and this was even when I was an atheist, the one beef I would have with people, other atheists, is them saying that Jesus is an amalgamation of people. We know historically that Jesus existed.
Right.
There's proof of that.
Yes.
Not that it was a mixture of a Zoroastrian idea or Gilgamesh or what the fuck ever. We know for a fact that this man existed.
He's a historical figure.
He is a historically accurate individual. Yes. He was just like John the Baptist was.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so when people it's fake. No, it's not fake. It's not made up. You know what I mean? It's not like there was a fucking cabal of Italians at the you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the shit happened. You know what I mean?
His
This
claims
dude
of divinity that are unique.
Yeah.
And that's the division point. Is Jesus God? That is the most divisive question in human history.
Well,
and I will die on that note.
You even have, even within Christianity in and of itself, or you guys wouldn't call certain aspects of it, but there's even a debate. There's non-Trinitarian Christians.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a debate within the community in and of itself.
And to clarify, a lot of the debates within the Christian faith itself, the Trinity is a little bit murkier, but a lot of them, like infant baptism or the whole Mary stuff or the age of the earth, all of those debates, they're not salvation issues.
Right.
And
I feel like those are issues when it comes to politics these days, because I refuse to talk social politics with people, because we talked about this today.
Yeah.
Most social ills could be, in my opinion, in my commie pinko ass opinion, I think most social ills could be mitigated to a certain degree with a better economic philosophy. You know what I mean? If people were more educated and weren't freaking the fuck out about whether they were going to pay their fucking bills or not, we don't need all these social wedge issues. And I think you're talking about kind of in the same milieu. These little things are not the things that we need to be fucking worrying about.
Yes, they are not. If you believe that the world was created 6,000 years ago versus whether you believe it was created billions of years ago, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Those aren't going to be the things that get you into heaven. It's Jesus' claim. Is Jesus God?
Oh, so you're telling me that most of my issues with organized religion aren't the shit I should be worrying about?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Fair enough. But they are worth having a conversation about because they turn people off.
Yeah.
And Christians, this is what I was trying to communicate to you today. So I apologize that I came off condescending.
Yeah, I said, fucking text sucks for context.
But the whole gospel message thing has brought to light for me how I am failing at communicating the important parts and how the church at large is failing at communicating the important parts.
Well, you see, there's a trend right now socially. You can look the stats up now that a lot of Gen Z's fucking weird because they're moving away from religion. Organized religion in the sense,
but becoming more conservative at the same.
But also not partying, and not doing a lot of
sober.
They're sober. They're not doing the wild shit that I did. I have had people who don't know I'm sober or no, I'm sober, but don't know why. And these are people in their 20s and 30s and stuff. And they're like, so you're like 37 and like you just hang out at home and play video games. I go, dude, when I was fucking 17, I was committing fucking felonies. Like I did my shit in college. I did my shit in my late teens, early 20s. And so to see I'm stoked about parts of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm not so stoked on other.
Also, the Gen Z that are becoming Christians are like, have you ever heard the name Forrest Frank? I've been thinking about this so much since it started. So Forrest Frank is a Christian artist, and he's Gen Z, and he makes music for Gen Z artists. So, it's fine.
Not my style.
Yeah, it's not really my style either. But that's not even the point. He posted a video online a few weeks ago talking about there's a Christian Music Award coming up.
There's multiple.
And he felt convicted to not go accept awards for his music because he wants the glory to go to God, to Jesus. And it started a whole fallout because, when you hold up a mirror to someone.
Yeah. Well, it's like we were talking.
Yes.
Just talking about
that. It is
he was holding a mirror up to the shittier aspects of that community and caught shit for it.
But he's Gen Z. He's considered Gen Z. So the Gen Z Christians that I'm seeing are are understanding the gospel message better than a lot of the millennials I know. Or a lot of the older people I know.
Yep. And I mean, it kind of goes to, talking about, like we brought up like progressive, we talk about, progressive Christianity and everything like that. And a lot of that, again, a lot of that goes back to like my economic stuff.
So I want to pick at that. When you say progressive, like what are you looking at? What are you seeing these progressive Christians saying? Because I know there's a lot of different.
Yeah, a lot of different vibes.
Yes.
Mostly the shit I can vibe with is, and again, commie pinko. It's the leftists that are looking at the teachings of Jesus through that lens of, like I was saying, of the sell your shit and live communally, of the what's the fucking Bible verse about the camel through the eye of a needle?
The rich person.
Yeah.
It's easier for a rich person to go through the needle of an eye than it is. Or it can't.
The camel for to go through the needle of an eye than it is to get into the kingdom of God.
Yes.
And Jesus flipping, like I said, he flipped tables and he whipped bankers. Fuck yeah, that's some dope shit.
But what I was trying to get at in our back and forth is that Jesus was commenting on the state of those people's hearts.
No, and like the other thing about it, like when I'm a political person, you know what I mean? Like that informs a lot of shit I look at. Like, and when I see Jesus and I see these things, Jesus. When I see these things in the Bible, these acts that I can dig from a commie pinko perspective, like I see a political person. He might not have been acting consciously, intentionally, not consciously, but intentionally political. But they were political acts in the sense that he was standing up to a system that he saw rotting from the inside. In the sense that you're talking about,
you're not wrong. When it comes to Jesus and the gospel message, I think it is important to say that Jesus, he was coming to hold up a mirror to all of us.
Yeah.
So what he did while he was here is supposed to, if you're a Christian, you believe Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, it is supposed to inform everything about the way you move through life, politically, ideologically,
you just I guess my big beef is I see a lot of politicized Christianity in this country right now, and it's fucking scary as fuck. When you're looking at like the Christian nationalism type shit and stuff like that veers into the far right, where they're advocating for violence against oppressed people type. You know what I mean? When you start getting into that vein, that freaks me the fuck out. And it cracks me up in this day and age for like right-wing people to talk about how scary the left is in America, because there is no organized left.
Well, when it comes to politics in general, this is from where I'm sitting. When it comes to politics in general, what I see both sides failing at, even Christians on both sides, is recognizing that these are all human systems and they all have flaws. It's like I told you today, Jesus didn't hate capitalism. He came to target what he talked to specifically the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And he...
Is that how you say that? I've been saying that wrong.
Yeah.
How do you say it?
Sadakis.
No.
That's
funny, though.
He challenged them on the way that they were interpreting and adding to and using the law.
Right.
And he wanted to cut to their hearts.
Mm.
And that's the point, is for all of us.
Right.
Jesus is supposed to be a mirror for all of us.
Well, like I say a lot of the time, because you see people online mostly talking about, there's going to be a revolution, whether it's right or left. They're both talking about it. And if that revolution, I know I was just saying that the social aspects isn't some shit we need to worry about. For a revolution to take hold and really stick, that's going to be beneficial to the most people. Like, people got to stop sucking first.
Well, right.
You know what I mean? Like, you can have all the economic or political growth or progressivism you want.
There are no amount of laws or money that are going
to make people suck less.
Yeah.
I completely agree. You can try to legislate morality all you want. It's not going to fucking work.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, people suck.
And at the foundation of that, that's why at this point I don't really like talking politics necessarily, because the problem, it's a heart problem. And if we don't talk about the heart problem, then nothing changes.
Nothing changes. You're going to continue perpetuating the shit.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I completely agree with that. I think humanity at large right now is in a very delicate and gross spot.
Right. But the trouble is, talking about that heart problem, then you have to talk about, inevitably, all of these roads lead to the God conversation.
Yeah.
And I know Amber texted me, do you have thoughts you want to... Because Amber, we have a group chat now, the three of us.
Yeah.
And Cathan and I were going at it a little bit in the group chat about the gospel. And then I took it to a side chat and we talked about it more. But you also texted me, Amber, and told me that you had some thoughts on what you saw of our conversation.
Yeah, so you actually said it again. Christian nationalism. If your Jesus is wrapped up in your politics, you're worshiping the wrong God. It's not Jesus and. It's not, I am a conservative Christian. It's Jesus. Full stop. So if you're coming across people who are Christians who make their whole entire Jesus identity their politics, then I'd be questioning their faith.
Right.
Because, yes, Jesus turned those tables, and Jesus looked at the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and he went, "Whoa, this is what you're doing wrong," because they had taken the law, and in Jewish culture, what they did, I probably explained this on Lunchbox's episode too, is here's where God said the law was, and then they set up all these extras to make sure that they wouldn't come anywhere near the line. So they put their fence way back here. So if it said, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy, and it said don't work on the Sabbath, well, if I'm
that's where you get Jewish people not even flipping light switches.
Yeah, like not even driving cars, but like I'm thinking like Jesus' day, like stonework was what they probably did. Jesus is probably a stoneworker, not a carpenter. Anybody who didn't know that, blow your mind, sorry. But like if you mix dirt and water together, you were making the stuff to make stones and rocks and all of the whatever. And so that would be considered work. So when Jesus healed a blind man by spit and mud, they said he was working because he made mud, like dirt and water. So that's where they took it to the extreme of like, here's this, instead of saying, okay, the law says, I'm trying to pick on one that's not the Sabbath. I don't know, the law says do this, well then we're just going to do that to the best of our knowledge and ask God and his grace will cover. Versus we got to do it to the extreme, which is where I think we as humans take everything as the extreme. Yeah. And so it's Christian nationalism. It's I'm a conservative Christian. I'm a liberal Christian. No, it's Jesus.
Well, and Jesus took it to the extreme too when he was talking to them and for purposes of like parable, when he was when he told them, if you have anger in your heart, you've committed the sin of murder, or is that right?
Yeah, if it's hate, you committed the sin of murder, and then he's talked about
if you lust in your heart, you've committed
adultery.
Okay.
If your left hand causes you to sin, cut it off. If your eye, gouge it out. Like do everything to the extreme to honor me. But
and
like,
getting to the people's heart.
yeah,
Dude, that's the thing. That is one thing I will say that I do love about Jesus in the Bible. That dude was a little bit of a fucking radical in this. You know what I mean?
More
Not
than
even a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's some shit that a commie pinko dirtbag anarchist, whatever label I decide to throw on it that day, because it does vary from day to day depending on where I'm at emotionally that day. That's some shit that I can get behind.
My sharpening of that is just that he wasn't targeting any.
No. I know that.
People.
I know that for sure.
So here's the other thing: is the Jewish people thought he was coming to be a political leader and king and overthrow the Romans, and that wasn't his goal. So they couldn't see it. So because the Bible is written to and for Jews originally, like in original context, original Hebrew, all of the things, the Old Testament, they were looking for a warrior who was going to come be the political leader, and that's not what they got. They got the man who washed their feet, who did miracles,
The carpenter,
turn the other cheek and all that. So
who said who died for them, and they couldn't see it because they were looking for something that wasn't there,
right?
That he wasn't supposed to be. And so I like to pick on the American church because I don't know anything about many other nations and the way they do church and how they read the Bible because I've not been a part of them. But we as an American church are looking for a specific Jesus. So now these conversations are harder for people to have because you're reading this about Jesus and going, wait, this is not what I'm seeing.
Mm.
And it's very different. And so I pick on the American church all the time.
Me too. Another thing I had notes on, and I guess it might kind of be related to this, was you guys said something about the gospel of inclusion. Or maybe I read that on the side somewhere, some shit, but I think I haven't a note about it.
I think that was like a blurb I posted with
maybe,
one of them.
But I know I got a note about it.
Yes.
And I did my own digging on that. And what is this fucker's name? Bishop Carlton Pearson.
Okay.
That's all I know is the dude's name. And basically what the gospel of inclusion is, and you guys you're not going to agree with it. I know that for sure, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Is basically all you've got to do to get to heaven is die. And it basically says everybody goes to heaven no matter what. And I should have done more research and written more notes on it, but we don't have to talk about that until I can get more notes on it.
Well, my response to that is, did you listen to the questions episode?
Which one was the questions episode?
The hard questions. It's not.
Oh yeah,
God.
I listened to that one.
So it's justice. The answer to that is justice. If there is no consequence for sin, permanent consequence for sin, then is there justice?
Right. No, and that makes perfect. That's kind of where my head went because we talked about it. I think we talked about it on my episode.
I think so.
About the fact that someone on their deathbed can be a horrible, genocidal, homicidal, rapist maniac, and if they accept Jesus on their deathbed, they get to heaven. You know what I mean? And there's a part of my brain that fucking hates that.
Yeah. Well, mine too.
Yeah.
Mine
and I think that would be anybody who took a serious look, deep dive, not even a deep dive, that's skin deep type shit that would trigger someone. And I think it got brought up because I know I listened to the episode because you had a comment on there. Somebody said something about not trusting a religion that appeases rapists or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I had a note on that, and that was all I had. I should have written more down.
I was really curious about your thoughts on that one. I thought that was a really good episode.
On which one?
The
questions one?
Yeah.
I liked a lot of that, just because you guys did tackle a lot of heavy shit. You know what I mean?
That was hard.
Yeah, but it was one of those where I was listening to it, because I think that was before I came on that I listened to that one.
I gotcha.
And so it was one of those that I was kind of listening to while I was at work.
Gotcha.
So if I'll put that as my homework for the next time is to sit down and really listen to that one.
It's a dense one.
With like a pen and pad, old school take note style, rather than as I'm at work, oh shit, I'm at the shovel, I like that, and type some notes out real quick.
Okay, fair enough.
I am excited to listen to Lunchbox's episode. I got a lot of texts and messages about my episode. Fucking old Ronnie Gonzalez reached out and said it was dope. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, he sent me a message. Like I told you earlier while we were eating dinner, my buddy Sean reached out, and that was a dude who was there for the heavy shit in Lander. And so to get a message from him was really cool, and he fucking made me emotional, made me fucking cry. Cause he was just like, dude, like, I don't know if any other sober person ever gets tired of being told that people are proud of them, I will never get tired. I don't think I'll ever get tired of hearing that shit. Because there's a lot of times where I'll wake up and I'll be getting ready for the day and shit, and I'll look in the mirror and be like, dude, you haven't done shit in 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, there are just those hard days where you don't feel like you've made any progress. So to have people recognize that progress and then comment about it is fucking sick.
Yeah.
One of my favorite compliments that I get, and I get this regularly, especially from the old women at the bowling alley, is that I just look happy now. And I still have the message saved where I just gotten teeth, hadn't I?
I think so.
And because I still have it saved in Snapchat where she said, happy looks good on you? And I still have that saved. And I still go through and I just look at that.
Good.
Because that's good shit.
Mhm.
And it fucking helps me to have that. That's another reason that I'm so loud and proud about my sobriety online. That's why I talk about it constantly. Because it is very much a validation type thing. And another part, like I said in my episode, another part of that is if I fuck up, I've got to be just as goddamn loud. And I'm not one of those sober dudes that can be like, I'm going to be sober for the rest of my life. I don't fucking know. I might relapse fucking tomorrow. It could happen. I'm one bad day from relapsing. It's like the Joker type shit. Everybody's one bad day from snapping.
Do you have any more notes?
I don't. Nope, that's all I got.
Okay. Well, I told my mom I'd tell you about this again.
Oh, God. Okay.
She's really excited about the book club. She talked to Dee about it, too, and Dee is also excited.
Dee.
Hunt.
Oh, no shit?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Remind me about the book club.
So, on the way to New Mexico, after my mom had listened to Cathan's podcast, she expressed interest in, she said a Bible study, but it wouldn't be a Bible study, obviously, because Cathan isn't a Christian, but more of like a book club situation that Cathan leads, where they read books of the Bible and then get together and talk about it.
Oh, I'm in.
She's very excited about it because she's brought it up she called me on my way over here and she's like, have you talked to Cathan yet? I'm like, I'm heading that way now.
There right now. He's got the meat in the bag at the house right now waiting for me to get there so we can eat. It would be, I think, interesting is the right word for it, for damn sure.
Yes. Just is the word for it.
Because again, I know that the skeptic in me would bleed through constantly.
But that's why it excites my mom.
Yeah. It would be a hell of a fucking perspective. Like I said, the only Bible I got is the Gideon Bible. I think I still have that somewhere at my house.
Do you know what translation the Gideon Bible is? It's probably New King James, isn't it? Or
Right, King James. Try to think if I have an extra Bible in my house that's not girly.
I had a thought about it. I brought one with me because I have extra Bibles that I ordered for this specific reason.
I need to get one for the house anyways. Even if it is just like a type of, I'm bored of work, I got to stay up. I'm bored, I got to stay up all night for work or whatever.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I gave the purple one away or the black one away. I think I gave the black one away and I still have the purple one.
I have a box of them at my house and I put them back in my car.
Because
that also reminds me, when I think I said on my episode before or after we recorded, I don't know if I said it on the episode, but I said something about having a Gideon Bible, taking it from a hotel, and you're like, they're glad you took it.
100%. Yeah.
Well, when I first jacked that Bible from that hotel, because I was working in Colorado at the time, I came back and I had that Bible and I was talking to Pastor John, pastor in Douglas that I talked to, and I was like, dude, like, is that all right? He goes, no, that's why they put them there, for you to take them.
Yes.
I go, oh, okay, cool, sweet.
Yes, absolutely, it's right. It's normal. They want that, like, for sure.
Hell yeah.
I don't think they do that anymore. Not in all hotels. Not in all
hotels, but they try to get them in most. They're currently really actually leaning towards getting them on college campuses.
I checked. The hotel in Seattle did not have one. The hotel in New Mexico did not have one.
Yeah.
Most of the hotels I've been in the last several years do not.
I don't think they're doing them more towards hotels anymore. Like, I know when they were at the church last year, we all gave money so they could buy enough Bibles to take like 1,000 to Casper College.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting that all it is the New Testament.
It is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those Gideon Bibles not the Old Testament in them.
Nope.
Interesting.
Oh, and I'm a firm camp of you need the old to understand the new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one Bible I definitely want to get my hands on, I want to get a red letter Bible. The one that it's only
like Jesus' words.
It's only his quotes. It's only the things he's.
That's not what a red letter Bible is. His quotes are in red.
No, Bibles. Like my Bible right here doesn't have it.
No, but in the red letter Bibles,
yes,
they're. I think they are all different translations, but in red letter
No,
Bibles.
the one I'm thinking of, it's just a Bible that only has what Jesus said in it.
Oh.
It doesn't have anything else. It's only so like in a lot of Bibles, Jesus's texts are in red in some Bibles, so you know it's him. It's a Bible that literally only has that.
So I wouldn't call that a Bible. I would call that a study companion.
Yeah.
Because how would you understand what Jesus was saying or what you meant if you didn't know who he was talking to and why?
Yeah, or what the situation was.
Yeah.
I mean, read it for sure,
Yeah.
but don't consider the Bible.
It'd be a cool thing to have.
I think that's just what they call it because they keep all the letters. They keep the whole red part where all the letters are red.
That's an interesting picking apart of the Bible.
Yeah.
And when you start to pick it apart, you get crazy things like my politics or my religion, and I'm going to pick all the things out of the Bible that I want to believe.
I think a lot of people, and you see it in politics too, motherfuckers just cherry pick the shit they want and then just discard the rest.
Yeah.
And you see that, again, you see that shit in recovery. You see that shit in sobriety. You see that shit with therapists. You see that shit with people going to therapy for the first time. You know what I mean?
People have been in therapy for 20 years.
And still not...
And have not made a change.
But thinking they're better because they've been to therapy and they've got a fucking therapist that just vindicates what their bias that they already went in with. That's why I like W. Fresh, because he was a dick. That dude called me on my shit all the time.
And that's probably why you would like the Bible. Because it can destroy you if you let it.
Oh, yeah. The Old Testament minus Kings and Chronicles.
Gonna have to dedicate time to those so we can appreciate them someday.
Oh, that was torture. When you read it chronologically, recommendation, don't do the Bible recap with Terry Lee Coble. If you are a person who needs to do it quickly, just read it. If you want to dig in and go like 2 or 3 chapters, skipping books, like go for it. That was super hard. But the coolest thing I saw as we read through it is Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, which is the books of the law, where the law is really laid out. Those are the books that wrecked women the most so far.
That wrecked women the most so far?
That, like, they saw how God was there for women, and they saw God's heart, and they saw how, like, this law was for one group of people, this law was for a different, and this law was for a different.
Rather than it being a blanket law for everybody.
Yes.
The Bible is not anti-woman.
No, it is not.
It's not sexist.
At all. And so, like...
Was Jesus a feminist? Is that what you're telling me?
No. Christianity is anti-feminism. No, feminism is anti-Christianity.
Sometimes. There's Christian feminism. That's a thing that exists.
As a female Christian, I don't want to know. I don't agree with it. There are some things that are no.
I mean, I'm just saying it's a thing.
Feminism should end at...
That was in air quotes.
Yes, it was. Men and women are equal in value.
But have vastly different roles.
Vastly different roles. That's the only part of feminism I can get behind, is that men and women are equal in value.
Which God's law laid out. Man.
See, I just know that for a real long time, and I mean, maybe even today, I guess I haven't really fucking thought about it, because I look at all hierarchical structures as inherently sexist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because for the longest time, like you couldn't have a bank account fucking 60 years ago.
That
you know
would
what I mean?
be man corrupting things.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And it was all wrapped in silly shit, and it was always justified in the worst possible fucking way. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at it at more than just surface level, you can see the cracks in the dumbass argument they're trying to make and shit. So I in my mind, inherently, and I want to say the church, meaning organized religion in and of itself, not individual people, is sexist.
Yeah.
The government is all hierarchical structures, as we know them today.
I agree with that.
Are sexist. And they're all colonial and they're all imperialist. That was another thing I wanted to ask you too. So if somebody, because I don't know how apocryphal this is, if it actually happened or if it's just some shit that I saw in a fucking meme on Facebook, but allegedly a Native American, when white people were first coming to America, a Native American asked a missionary, well, if I didn't know about Jesus before you telling me about him, would I still get into heaven without knowing about him at all, without knowing who he was? And the dude apparently said yes. And then the Indian was like, well, why the fuck did you tell me about him? So I guess my question would be, like, if someone does it, like, if there's some uncontacted tribe in the fucking Amazon in Brazil or some shit like that, is it the right thing to go evangelize to them? Because if they're going to get in based on their ignorance of it, is it kind of a dick move to go tell them about it?
It's not based on their ignorance. It's, again, based on their heart posture. Like,
Okay.
this is the extreme I like to use for that. Go back thousands of years to the Mayans doing freaking human sacrifices.
Yeah.
You know, without a doubt, there were people in those tribes that are like, this is wrong.
Bad, yeah.
Because the law of God is written on our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
It's not whether or not you've heard about Jesus. It is your heart statue.
Okay.
And we talked about this in Lunchbox's episode 2. God has a way to reach everybody.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So they're going to have to hear me say it 1,000 times. That's fine. There's a country in the Middle East, we don't know which one, for protecting the missionaries over there. Who, the guy told a story that he came across this guy who, for nights, like multiple nights, probably months, I don't know the exact amount of time, kept having dreams of Jesus giving him the book of John, like the Gospel of John. And he wrote it down. And when a missionary finally met a missionary, the missionary told him the story of the gospel. He used the book of John, and he's like, oh yeah, I have it right here. God didn't need that missionary to go to bring this man to faith. And so this is happening in the Middle East, where it's illegal to be a Christian, where women are second-class citizens, where all of these things are going on. God's like, you know what? I'm just gonna help these people. I'm gonna tell these people about who I am. And turns out he doesn't need me. He wants to use me, but he doesn't need me. And so, like, the people in the Amazon tribe that haven't met a white American Christian, who knows what God's told them and what God has taught them and what God has done inside of their lives. We're not the judge of if they're going to heaven or hell or not.
Right.
And God doesn't see us as different tribes.
Right.
We're all equal.
That makes sense. I think I had that as a note and I just skimmed past it and it just popped back into my head. I mean, I just see when you look at, and I want to specify, white people coming to America specifically, like that's just colonialism. That's just imperialism. That's an aspect of trying to control a group of people.
That's why humans have done.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that that's a Christian specific thing. That's a people fucking thing of that time.
Of all time.
Not just then, but of all God.
We're still trying to do it now.
Yeah, and it's gross and I hate it. But it does bug me that I still slide into that real misanthropic part of my brain where I just think people at large are trash, because I know that's not the case. I know most people generally don't suck.
I disagree with that. Humans are selfish by default.
Yeah.
And you can argue then whether being selfish is good or bad, and in some cases maybe it's necessary or whatever. But humans,
well, that selfishness,
you don't have to teach kids how to be shitheads. You have to teach them how to behave.
Yeah, you have to teach them to not be shitheads, because they're already pretty good at being shitheads. I have two daughters in fucking middle school right now.
Left to their own devices, kids are naughty.
Yeah.
They're not this whole like, oh, look at little kids, they're so innocent. They're naive. Sure, they're naive. Yeah. But I have witnessed little kids now, and left to their own devices, they are awful.
They will, if left to their own devices, they'll commit fucking atrocities, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they will. Yes.
Yeah.
So no, I do not agree with the statement that most people are good.
That's fair. I can dig that. Like I said, I'm in a very misanthropic space right now where it's one of those things, and I've got to be self-conscious of it, that I'm in that mindset, and I've got to force myself to like see good in some people.
Right.
Or I'm going to fucking spiral.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it'll end up being one of those things where I'll be like, dude, fuck it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's one thing people have noticed about me, people who've known me for a long time, but I'm in a hell of a lot more positive-minded than I was.
Because I'm the same way.
And I mean, a lot of it has to do with, it all goes back to my recovery journey. It all goes back to confronting what I was angry about with myself.
Right.
And what I was angry about with things that happened to me. And why I was still angry about those things and why I couldn't let them go. Yeah. And like I said in my episode, there was a lot of forgiveness for people who didn't, at the end of the day, didn't fucking deserve it. But I didn't forgive them for them. And I forgave them for my goddamn self because it was one of those things where I was holding on. It was like holding on to sand. I was holding on to it so fucking tight that shit was still slipping out. And living in that anger and living with that rage bubbling just below the surface it's a hard fucking way to live.
Yeah.
Like when I got my throat tattooed when I hit a year sober, my tattoo artist even made the comment about the last time he'd seen me before that because I wasn't sober the last time he'd seen me. And I was smoking at the time. I went outside to smoke a cigarette, and he was like, dude, you're a completely different person. Because the last time you were in here, he was like, you were a tea kettle. Just, you were bubbling. You were ready to fucking snap. And he knew a lot of the aspects of my life at that point that were not working. And he's like, and he goes, you came in today. He goes, you're a completely different human being than you were a year ago. And for someone that I see once a year, twice a year at most, to notice that, it was almost one of those things that made me angry at the people who were in my life every day and didn't do or say anything. But at the same time, if they had done or said anything, I would have told them to fuck off.
Right. Well, looking at the world through the Christian lens, for me, it's hard to not be really pessimistic too.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're a discerning person, it becomes pretty easy to look at people and not all the time, but a lot of times it's pretty clear that their intentions are selfish. They might be doing a good thing,
Right.
but you can tell that the reason they're doing the good thing isn't just to be doing the good thing.
Right.
It's to get...
Well, and it goes back to like we kind of touched on it a little bit in my episode about, I said something along the lines of, I don't think people should need God to not be a piece of shit. And I mean, the converse of that is if you do need God to not be a piece of shit, you're still a piece of shit.
But that's why Jesus.
Yeah.
Because we're all pieces of shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point.
Yeah. Oh shit, I got too far from the mic. You're going to have to fix that. I mean, a lot of it just goes back to, people, I mean, it kind of goes back to being true to yourself bit. You know what I mean? Like, if you're really gonna take that hard look, you're not gonna like what you fucking see.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whether that's on an individual level or on a societal level.
Yes.
Because if you really take a step back or you look in that mirror or you show that mirror to people, you're gonna get an adverse fucking reaction.
Absolutely. I've talked to thousands and thousands of people now at this point, especially men. And in the last few years, it's really easy to I bring up God with everybody. It's real easy. And most people will be like, well, I live my life as a good person. It's like, but what does that mean?
Yeah.
What is your measure of good? How do we define good? If you can't look at that, then you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if you're really being true to your authentic self, what you're doing in a healthy way, in a way that isn't like we were talking about where you're using it as an excuse or a mask to be a fucking scumbag and just make people accept who you are. You're setting boundaries, you're respecting your own boundaries, and you're respecting boundaries of others.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part that people fuck up most of the time, is they've got their boundaries and you better fucking respect them, but they have no issue pushing the boundaries of other people.
There's a layer of the authentic self, in air quotes, conversation. And this is what Amber and I talked about in the episode is that the one that went up this week? It's the one that comes out on Wednesday. That's the Halloween episode. We talked about it at the Halloween episode?
Yes, that's where we dug deeper into it.
I'm going to get confused by episodes. The deeper we get. The layer of living in the gifts that God has given you selflessly. Because I know plenty of super talented people who have weaponized those things for selfish gain. Or if God has given you the gift of confidence or an artistic or whatever gift God has given you, I think that's where that thing in this conversation gets really garbled because people are like, well, but I'm an artist. And it's like, well, you can be an artist, but why are you doing the art?
Mm-hmm.
Like what's the driving force behind that?
Right. Well, and when it comes to like I said in my episode, like my first year of recovery was fucking survival. My second year was thriving for myself. in my personal life. The third year, I want to be about giving back and helping other people. And I want to help other people because it kind of goes back to your guys' bit about getting saved. You have this good news. You have this message. You want to share it because it has improved your life in every aspect. It's the same thing with me and my recovery, my sobriety. I want to continue to share it, particularly because, like I said, I don't think everybody needs to get sober. Just because I can't have a healthy relationship with alcohol doesn't mean you can't. But I do think everybody needs a certain level of recovery, particularly men, because men don't talk about this shit.
Yeah.
And so it's like you were saying, finding that fine line where I'm giving back in a way that is just selfless.
Yeah.
To give back just to give back and not gain anything from it personally.
Yeah.
But also doing it in a way to where I can hopefully do it paying my fucking bills at the same time. That would be the end game for me.
I mean, that's the ideal, right?
Yeah.
But if that becomes the driving force, then that's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. If it gets to the point where I'm sitting in a hotel about to go do a public speaking bit, I'm like, motherfucker, I can't wait till I get my check and this is fucking done. I need to get out at that point.
Yeah.
Because I no longer have the passion to help people.
Yeah.
At that point.
So this has been a lot of Cathan and I just talking. Your turn. Say things.
I was about to say, I thought the whole point of me coming here was to bring her out of her goddamn shell.
You two just start talking, and there's no way to jump in. Just tell us. So, shut up.
Yeah, no shit. You could drop a goddamn F-bomb on here and be like, Cathan, shut the fuck up.
It will not happen.
Just need a safe word between the three of us, I guess. Or Amber can raise her hand.
Shortbread.
So I want to go back to something you said. You said you didn't forgive because they deserved it.
Right.
Jesus didn't die because we deserved it.
Oh, that's fucking fair.
God does not forgive us because we deserve it.
Mercy is a deserved thing.
No. So like everything you say lines so with the heart of God. Like I was just sitting there going, but Jesus didn't die because we deserved it. God doesn't forgive us because we deserved it. God doesn't love us because we deserved it.
And that's the beauty of the gospel message is that we don't deserve it. And he knows we don't deserve it. Can you tell me of a more selfless love than that?
Yeah.
A perfect deity sacrificing himself for us, imperfect humans, knowing exactly who we are and what we're capable of.
I still go back to humans are just a complex form of fucking bacteria sometimes. But no, I get what you mean. Yeah, that close.
That close.
What happened? I just that was just my thought is, as you said that was, wait a minute, there's God. Like I didn't forgive my ex-husband for him.
Right.
Like one of the last conversations we had was, I need you to forgive me so nobody hates me.
Fuck.
Yeah, that I say. I was like, you know what? I'm forgiving you not for that reason, and what people feel and say about you is none of my business.
I'd have been like, I forgive you, but I hope they hate you anyways, motherfucker.
I mean, that might have been my thought. Really honest, I was really angry that day.
I mean, it's the one thing because I always talk about, men viewing things through a lens of anger. Anger is okay. It's okay to be angry. And in fact, you need to be angry about a lot of shit. There's a lot of valid shit to be angry about, whether it's anger at yourself or anger at others, anger at the world, whatever. There's a lot of valid reasons to have a lot of anger.
There is such a thing as righteous anger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is you can't you've got to process that anger. You can't just fucking live on it. We're not fucking Sith Lords, man. And it never worked out for those fuckers in Star Wars either.
I was the angry kid from the time I was 9 until I was like 20.
Dude, I was the angry fucking kid until like 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, and the first time I unclenched my fucking jaw, I thought I was gonna fucking melt. You know what I mean? Like, I used to tell people that my body, I probably told Jess this more than once, my body is a fragile ecosystem held together by whiskey, caffeine, nicotine, and hate.
Turned out you didn't need any of those things.
No, we still need the nicotine because there are still people out there.
Okay, but you've given up. I'm not worried. Nicotine will go. Both my parents quit smoking. You'll be fine. It'll go.
Is that what's in your mouth?
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering. It looks like a piece of plastic.
I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah. Velos, man. That's how I quit smoking.
No, it'll go one day. I know.
Which is just It's just a substitute, you know what I mean? But I'm not smoking anymore.
Sometimes you have to trade up addictions, man.
Oh, dude, I did that like a
Sometimes you have to.
motherfucker. You know, I trade even with alcohol. Like, I traded being in the bar for staying at home and playing video games with my nerdy fucking friends.
It's become a running joke between my sister and I. So, well, at least it's not meth.
Yeah, no shit. Yep, I'm not on meth. That's a good day. Speaking of trading addictions, another thing I want to do, I told you I was starting playing Dungeons & Dragons with my kids. I want to get so good at DMing that I can get a weekly or monthly sober, just game of sober people that don't do because if you don't do AA, because that's all we got in Douglas, you know what I mean? Like, you have no...
That's about all we have here, too.
You have no fucking community.
Continue. Sorry, I remembered a thing that I wanted to bring up.
Okay, don't forget. You have no sense of... I have no sense of, like, sober community in Douglas. I don't have, like, sober... I have friends who respect the fuck out of my sobriety.
But they're not sober.
But they're not sober. So they don't understand the journey. They don't understand the shit that sucks about it. To them, I just quit. You know, for most of them, you quit drinking. You know what I mean? And like I said, quitting drinking is easy. Just don't fucking drink. The hard part's dealing with the shit that made you want to drink in the first place.
And losing your community.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, getting sober is incredibly fucking lonely. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Healing, period.
Yeah.
Like, when you want to heal, whatever it is,
yep,
it's lonely.
Oh,
path of truth is lonely.
Yeah. I mean, and figuring yourself out and who you are as an individual, as far as someone who, it kind of goes back to the self-love bit in the sense that, because like it got to a point where I would have to force myself. If I was on days off and I didn't have my kids, I would have to force myself to take a shower that day because I just wanted to fucking bed rot.
I want to ask you if you can, I don't know if define, but like answer what is loving yourself biblically? How would you answer that?
You want me to get spicy?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
She knows some of this. She actually knows 90% of this already. So my church here, I have two churches, one here and one in Texas. It talks about you have to love yourself before you can love others. Meaning like you have to have value for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to like know your worth.
Right. And I can agree with that 100%.
To a point.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to a point here. My church in Texas, I love Pastor John. He preached the same scripture that my church did months later. I listened to it and he said, I'm going to take a really long way to get there. He said, in America, specifically with the American church, we love ourselves just fine. We don't know how to die to self so that we can love others. So like giving up our addictions, giving up our time, giving up our things that quote unquote make us our authentic self or make us happy or our self-care. Like you don't need another spa day to love yourself.
Right.
And so I've been mulling this and I don't know if I have a 100% fully thought up answer for this yet, but I lean more towards the loving yourself is honoring the body that God gave you. You're made in the image of God. He created you very good. It's much as good as how it translates from Hebrew and Greek into American. I was like, English, American? I don't know what language we're speaking it this way. So you're going to honor the physical body God gave you, along with the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, all of the parts of you. And then you are going to take what God gave you to love your neighbor. And your neighbor is anybody you're around. It doesn't matter if you agree with him or not. I love the story in the New Testament of Jesus of the man who got the crap beat out of him and all stuff stolen. And the priest came along and the priest assistant came along, and now I'll go into the rabbit hole of how that would make them unclean, and that's why they couldn't do it. Now that I've studied the actual, I'm like, that's a lame excuse. But then a Samaritan, a half Jew, half Gentile, came along and helped a Jewish man, paid for his recovery, his doctor. I was like, what words am I looking for? Oh my goodness. And he knew who he was. He knew his value to the point where he would help someone he was not supposed to. he would commune with someone who technically shouldn't have communed with him, according to the law and according to the rules and according to the Pharisees and Sadducees. And so
Still tripping out that's how you say that. God.
Sadducees. Sadducees. I could sing you a song, but I will not torture the listeners. I'll sing it to you later. It's in my head. That's why I said it. I hate the self-love, love yourself, but like that's where Jesus talked about it. Was the answer was, well, who's my neighbor? That was the answer, is anyone you're around. It's not just your fellow Jews. It's not just your fellow Pharisees. It's anyone you're around is your neighbor. And I said to love them as you love yourself. Well, in that day and time, the Pharisees, who he was talking to, loved themselves to the point that they thought they were better than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, we all tend to love ourselves to some degree. Now, I'm not saying that as a general blanket statement, because I know there are people with depression and anxiety and mental health issues that are to a point that they don't know how, that they do not know how to function because they don't even know who they are or any of that. So I'm not blanket stating this, but I am preaching to, like, speaking at it from a Christian lens of people who, I hate the word should, but I'm doing it, should be in a walk with God to the point where they are not depressed to the point of bedretting, where they can't shower. Like, granted, I've been there. I have been that Christian. That's why I said I hate saying should. But if you are abiding and you are having a relationship with God, you don't need to like love yourself and know your worth, because your worth is filled up by God. And so then you can go love the person next to you who you disagree with 100%.
Is it one of those things where your cup is so full you can fill other people's cups? Is that
kind of?
Am I at least getting it?
To some degree, but also maybe you don't have. Maybe you are giving out of your luck. Because there's another story where all the people are giving all of their money, like giving their little penance, their 10%, and the widow comes up and gives the last of everything she has to the tithes. And it wasn't 10%, and they scoffed at it. And Jesus is like, no, she gave me everything. You're giving me out of your excess. She gave me everything. And so some of it is your cup is full and you're giving out of what you can. And sometimes your cup is almost empty and you're still able to love someone around you. God is the bottomless well from which you can pull. So it doesn't matter if your cup is full or if it's empty. Okay. You can always pull from the bottomless well.
Okay.
But so it's not about my cup. It's about, am I in relationship with God so that when I feel depleted, when I feel tired, when I financially don't have something, I know God will provide, even if I sorry, I'm having a thought about somebody right now, and I need to, as soon as I get to a statement, I need to message her. Even if I don't have the extra to give, I'm going to trust God to give it to somebody. Like, say somebody who doesn't need groceries. Like, there's a page here in Natrona County that's still good Natrona County, and it is literally like, every time I think about it, I want to cry. People in Natrona County on this page who go, hey, I don't have, or hey, I need, and within hours that need is fulfilled. Yeah. It could be groceries, it could be help with rent, it could be help getting a car fixed. It doesn't matter what it is, because everybody is seeing how many people in probably Douglas too are just at a point of hurting to the point where they don't have just the basic needs.
Right.
And so that's the kind of like giving that when you love yourself and you're filled up with the Lord and you are abiding, that you can do.
Right.
Even when you have less.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
It's a great page.
It's the faith that when you have nothing and someone asks you for your last $5, you give it to them knowing that the Lord will provide.
Right. That makes perfect sense. For not having a well thought out thought on that, you nailed it pretty goddamn good.
That's because my brain was doing this. Well, I should have seen the Hot Wheels racetrack.
While she's sending that message, as she was talking, the dying to self thing and the self.
What does that mean?
It's what you did getting sober. You said in your episode that someone died that night.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah.
So in the Christian world, dying to self, I gotta find it. I think
I was about to say, because I've heard that multiple times on this podcast. I didn't realize
it's that vein.
It's that. I didn't realize it was in that. I thought it was some like theological shit that I didn't
I mean,
understand.
it is. That's what I'm looking for. Give me just a second. It's sacrifice.
I think we should call this episode the one with all the S-bombs, because I think I said shit more than I said fuck this time.
You definitely have cut back on the F-bombs.
Well, and it's just when I talk about my recovery, like I don't think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just go.
But it's whatever.
And I think I've been more thoughtful this time around. You know what I mean?
I mean,
either way. If Shannon's listening, I will still take full credit for you cussing so much on your trip to Texas.
New
Mexico, sorry. Same fucking
Your
thing.
brain is in Texas.
Yeah.
That's why you say
No, I'm going there.
So the pastor talked about on the sermon from August 31st. I didn't do that today. I read a weekly email to the ladies at church and some of my friends, just encouraging. And I listened to this sermon and I sat there for like a week. And then my pastor here talked about pick up your cross. So there is this Bible verse about pick up your cross daily and follow me. In the culture and history and when that was written, the cross was an instrument of torture and death. We look at crosses like on my wall, I have 3. We wear them around our necks. We have bracelets of them. There are backgrounds.
That reminds me of the Bill Hicks bit. I think it's a Bill Hicks bit. It's like, do you think when Jesus comes back, he wants to see a fucking cross?
but like that's the thing is we have morphed it so much. So what John said, I'm just going to read it. It's long. Sorry, people. Jessica paraphrased it in the last episode. How do we literally follow Jesus? By the way, the call of following Jesus is not like a senior level aspect of Christ's life. It's the basic ask of the Christian life. There's more. So Jesus moved from the permanent position to the permanent decision, to the painful one. And notice the word daily. Jesus tells them, this is the day-to-day decision that you make. Once you decide to follow me day by day, you must pick up the cross every day to follow me. Now, you and I, when we think about the cross today, we think of it differently than the disciples in that day and time. In that day and time, there was no piece of jewelry in the shape of a cross. In that day and time, nobody put a cross on their wall. They didn't have a bumper sticker with a cross on them. They didn't embroider them into clothing or anything else. The cross only meant one thing to people in that day and time. It was an instrument of hardship. There wasn't anything beautiful about the cross. It was the most excruciating form of death the Romans could devise. It only meant death. In fact, in that day and time when Jesus interacted with the disciples in this text, the area around them would have been surrounded by crosses on the roadways where the Roman soldiers had put down an insurrection by crucifying men who were involved in that insurrection on the cross. So the disciples had that fresh in their minds. When Jesus said, take up your cross daily, it only meant one thing. You've got to die daily, whether you would have, to whatever you would have done, to however you would have lived, you've got to die daily if you're going to follow me. So if any man wishes to come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross daily. Crosses are not for carrying, someone said, they're for crucifying. And that's a really big part of what it means to have a life following Jesus. I've defined it this way. Your cross is your willing sacrifice of everything you are and have in order to follow Jesus. If you have to sacrifice something to follow Jesus, and all of us do in some form, then your cross is that. You die to that in order to follow Jesus fully, or you will never follow him fully.
Damn. Yeah, I was curious about that because I noticed you knew you'd said that die to self on here a couple of times. Like I said, I wasn't sure if it was I didn't put it in the vein of what I went through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Probably because I did what I did out of just pain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I did and I do want to touch on one thing when people say that suicide is a selfish act. I do want to push back on that shit a little bit. Because when you're in that headspace and you've decided that that's what you're going to do when you've made that decision, you're not doing it thinking I had already run, all right, how is this going to affect my kids? How is this going to affect my wife at the time? How is this going to affect my parents? That had all ran through my fucking head multiple times. And it was devastating to think about. But I was still in so much pain and so tired of being here that I was like, I'd still made that decision. So I don't know that it sounds selfish, so I understand where the thought process comes from. But you can tell someone who's never fucking been in that thought process when they say some shit like that. Because if you've ever seriously considered it, you know it's not from a place of selfishness. It's a place of being in so much pain that you just can't fuck it. You don't think you can handle it anymore.
I mean, I get that. I think it's as Amber says, a yes and both and.
Mhm.
It can be that, but it can also be selfish.
Yeah,
Because
well-
I've been there and it was selfish.
Yeah.
As I say, it depends on who, what, why.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like,
It depends
you
on
and I,
it depends on
was-
the context.
Yeah, you and I, it was desperation and pain.
Yeah.
Which in a way is still kind of selfish. The argument can still be made.
It can still be turned around, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And that's what I'm saying, is that it can be interpreted in different ways. Like I said, I understand the thought process, but I do want to push back on it because I think that being voiced so vocally a lot of the time, you see it on social media all the fucking time. Yeah, I think that's a dangerous.
Well, it's one of those things you can't just flop out there without the nuance.
Yeah, without the context and the nuance and everything like that. And because my worry is someone in extreme pain is going to see that and they're not going to take it as like a positive. You know, it's not going to talk them the fuck out of it. All it's going to do is add to the shit.
Right.
It's just going to pile on more shit that they're already not dealing with, that they're already not well with. And I don't know, man. It's just people in pain makes me sad because of where I've been.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot of empathy there. But it's also another one of those things, like I had to go to the extremes just to get to where I'm at. I had to die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's exactly a version of me had to die for me to get to where I'm at. If I had just gone home or gone to a buddy's house or some shit like that and slept it off, I would not have gotten sober.
Right.
I had to get to that point and I had to go through with it. Like I said, is another line of coincidences in air quotes that nobody got hurt that night except for me. You know what I mean? And that a different version of me. And like I said, my fucking relapse prevention therapist kicked me in the nuts like second fucking session. You know what I mean? She was like, yeah, your suicide attempt wasn't unsuccessful.
Mm-mm.
A version of you died that day and a different version of you came out. And now you're putting that version together. And like I said this last time, like not everybody needs to get sober, but I think everybody should go to fucking therapy.
Only if it's a good therapist.
Yeah.
I know some really bad ones.
Oh yeah, I think every profession's got their fucking predators, and every profession has their people who, like Jess was saying, do shit. They're not therapists because they're trying to help people out of selflessness.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing it for the paycheck. They're doing it for the recognition and the accolades that come with it. They're not doing it because they genuinely want to help someone.
I want to throw a nuance on the everybody needs a therapist thing, because I think it is true to an extent. Because Amber and I, we talked about this a lot in the Lost episode. And where I landed on it is I will say there are moments in my life where I could have benefited from a therapist, but I could have benefited from anyone that would let me talk to them.
Right.
So therapy
maybe
can be a good tool, but I think even more than that, you need people you can
communicate with. Yeah, communicate with in a vulnerable way where
and
you feel
hold
safe.
You accountable.
Yeah.
Because the person in pain, we have kind of overcorrected into just validating all their pain.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, you
can validate. You can validate without fucking glorifying.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's why, like, I went on this bit on TikTok for a while. This was when I was still drinking. Ironically enough, this was before I got sober and before I went to therapy. It'd be these fucking dudes just glorifying their pain and why they were pieces of shit. And I would stitch it all the time. There's probably 10 of them on my TikTok of me just stitching it and be like, bitch, go to fucking therapy. Mind you, visible glass of whiskey in my hand, not going to therapy. And there's comments in there, well, it's not going to help. I'll just drink. And I'm like, motherfucker, that's what I'm doing. Quit. But still, even in that moment, that thought process was quit glorifying your pain.
Very distracting. I'm sorry.
It is. But
what's distracting? The noises coming up.
Oh.
You're like the person who lives next to a train. You've just gotten used to it. You don't even notice it when it goes by anymore.
It is about
you don't notice it till someone pointed. Now you're going to not be able to not.
Now he's not actually do it anymore.
Them.
It's because they have 5. Oh.
And There it is.
It's them.
That sounds like fucking emphysema, dude. You need to quit smoking, bruh.
Or it's
Make better health decisions. I say that with my nicotine pouch.
I was like, wait a minute, sir. Quit your nicotine first.
Take the log out of your own eye.
The world is not ready for a Cathan without nicotine, and neither the fuck am I. If I ever completely quit nicotine, it's gonna have to be a point where like I can like dry out in a hotel by myself for like a week.
Dry out.
Whatever. It's gonna be when he finally just decides Jesus, the gospel's true, and it's the first thing God's gonna go, you're done, and it's gonna be just gonna be what it is.
Emphatic.
And I'd be like, wait, what?
Amber mentioned after we sat down last time that she wanted to talk about therapy more.
Did I? Oh my gosh. Yeah. My head still hurts.
I know, but again, not to talk.
But the therapy conversation we're in agreement on.
You had mentioned that you wanted to dive into that more with him. And we didn't really talk about why, so I can't help you any more than that.
I bashed my head on my car on Saturday and my brain's not fully.
Got a concussion. I forgot.
Wow.
No, I've slept since then. I don't remember what it was.
Okay.
And my brain can't think about it. I do, like you and I, Jessica and I have talked about what therapy is. I think therapy is for a season.
Yeah, no, it's not. I think a lot of people, what they do, and my friend who was my therapist boss was worried about me. The thing with addiction recovery that a lot of people, and it's something I've done, is substitution. You substitute one addiction for another, right? Mm-hmm. She was worried that I would start substituting therapy for my alcoholism. I would be going every single, like I would just keep fucking going because it filled that void. It filled that spot. Mm-hmm. And Dougie Fresh, being a smart man, I think he also saw that was a possibility. And he was like, it was right before I hit a year sober. He goes, you'll be a year next, whatever it was, Sunday. And I go, yeah. He goes, okay, the Wednesday after that's our last session. He goes, you can keep coming in if you, and the way he worded it was fucking perfect. He goes, you can keep coming in and paying me $50 every 2 weeks to tell you that the things you're doing are working. If you want, I'll take your money. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. He goes, but you're not going to get anything from this anymore. The shit you're doing on your own is, because half the time I'd be getting into therapy and be like, yeah, I did this, this, and this. And he'd be like, yeah, no, that's cool. He goes, and you'd blow my fucking notes for the entire session because I was going to tell you, hey, you should probably try this, this, and this. And then you come in and say you did that shit on your own. Because I would just sit at home and be like, all right, I'm feeling this way. Why am I feeling that way? What do I need to be working on right now to ease this anxiety or depression or whatever it is I had going on? I'm dealing with it right now because I didn't sleep for shit Saturday before I went back to work Sunday morning. I woke up like every 30 minutes.
Oh, that's the worst.
And it'd take me 20, 30 more minutes to fall back asleep. I'd wake up 30 more minutes later. You know what I mean? So
you just dozed. You didn't actually.
Yeah, there was no REM.
Is your neighbor dying?
It's cold and flu season. Who knows?
COPD.
That's not all I hear. Thank you for pointing it out. Sorry. But, no, what I was thinking is like I know people addicted to therapy, but they don't change.
Right.
And then it doesn't open up a room.
They're going for the validation of someone telling them,
yes,
you're doing great, when they're not doing shit. And it goes back to, if you're going to go to therapy, get a good fucking therapist that'll call you shit.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to hold that mirror up to yourself, you need a therapist who will hold it up to you. You know what I mean? And when he finally got the diagnosis, because he didn't want to tell me what my diagnosis was at first, because, I'd hop on Wikipedia and come to the worst possible conclusion. And he was fucking right. I'm glad he did it in a safe space. Because if I would have dove down that rabbit hole, it would have been a fucking nightmare. But what he would do, where I'd be like, hey man, I'm doing this, that, and this, these are the behaviors. And he would be like, okay, well, why? He would just ask why, fucking constantly. All right, well, why did that make you mad? Why was it the tone because that was just the way they said it. Fucking why? And if you're at the point, if you've got a shit therapist that is just there to click you off their fucking docket for the day and collect their fucking copay, you're not going to get shit out of it. You're just going to get the time. And it's like you said, all you're doing is substituting.
Oh, yeah. So I had an issue where something happened at the beginning of the month and it reminded me of my ex-husband, like my whole entire body. Like I went into like full on, like, this is not okay. Took me a week to like work through all the steps I've been taught in therapy. And then last Wednesday I went to therapy and I told my counselor and I told her what I did. And and I'm intentionally not saying what it was out of respect, for that situation. The coughing. Why
Damn, dude.
Coughing or sneezing? I don't
I don't know what it is,
sneezing.
but that dude needs a CPAP machine or some shit. Dude needs a nebulizer.
This sound will be edited out, so
I don't
there's
even
that,
think they
at
can
least.
hear it.
Probably not.
I don't know. The mic might be picking it up. The editing software.
I wouldn't be
take it out.
shocked if it was.
Anyways,
It sounds like the kind of cough you have that gives you a fucking hernia.
seriously,
Dude's gonna
he's gonna sneeze his brain out.
Dude's gonna slip a fucking disc.
Oh my goodness! I can't tell which one of them over there it is.
anyways,
Yeah.
I sat there with her and I told her the whole situation. And it's not the first time we talked about it, so it's an ongoing thing in my world. But it was the first time I realized in this situation, this specific person very much left me as
Trigger something.
Oh yeah, it was so bad. And so we talked through it and I said, am I just being a jerk? Like, is this just me being a jerk and running? Because I have a tendency to run. Like, every 2 to 3 years, I'm like, I got to go do something else. Like, staying at a job for almost 8 years is like a miracle of all miracles.
America. Now I got the Team America song. America. Fuck yeah.
Anyways, and she's like, no, because this is not the first time you brought it up. If this was the first time you brought up this issue, I would say maybe, but no, this is not the first time you brought this up. And so in therapy, the goal is to get to, when you're triggered, do the work to not be triggered and be a jerk to everybody around you.
Get you a fucking toolbox to handle it in the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then also, like, be able to go, am I the problem? And most people don't want to ask the question, am I the problem?
No, fuck no, because then they might have to find out that they're the fucking problem.
And being the problem as the problem half the time is not fun.
Well, like when I first started going to therapy, I was so fucked up that I was asking my therapist if I was a narcissist. You know what I mean? And his first answer was, the fact that you're fucking asking means probably not, bud. You got too much self-awareness for that to be what I think he already knew what we were actually dealing with, which, and I'll tell you off mic, it's not a shocker fucking at all.
Right.
But I do think you're right. When it comes to therapy, there are people who go to therapy just to say they go to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
It's an accolade more than anything. It's so they can, Jesus. It's so they
Kill
can
him.
No shit. Christ compels you. It's so they can project that they're a good person. You know what I mean?
So my brother preached, not this week.
I kind of want to go check on him. Oh my goodness.
I don't know if it's him or them or them.
distracting. Your brother preached last week.
Not this Sunday, but the Sunday before, and he got a little bit spicy about people who use their therapy and their mental health issues and their trauma as their personality and their crutch.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ooh, okay, good thing I'm in a healed enough place that I can take your spice.
Yep.
But he was like, why? It's in their bios on social media. It's how they lead the conversation.
Yep.
I'm so-and-so, here's my trauma.
See,
I'm so-and-so, here's my
That was the biggest fear
stuff.
I had when I first got sober, was that I'd be one of those dudes where sobriety was my entire personality. And I know it's a big part of who I am. I talk about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm not. There's a lot of people who use sobriety as like I said, as a way to keep perpetuating poor behavior.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because then I'm not. It kind of goes back to the, at least it's not meth type shit. I just feel, and you see a lot of it in the recovery space, people using their sobriety, and you'll probably see this, people going to therapy as a way to other themselves in a way that makes them so they can project that they're better than other fucking people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you see this in every aspect of life. I'm sure you see it in the church. You know what I mean?
For
like,
real.
I'm a Christian, so I'm better than you because you're not type shit.
Yeah.
And me being sober doesn't make me better than anybody. You know what I mean? It doesn't make me a better person. It means I got to such a shitty spot with my poor decision-making ability that I had to make a life-altering change.
Right. You could say the same thing about being a Christian.
Yeah, exactly. I'm 100% in support of anything that forces someone out of their shitty box to move into a better box.
Me too. I like to push people to keep going in that vein, though, because if you
you don't. I have never experienced that from you
keep
once.
going in that vein,
You don't lie on this podcast.
anybody who knows me knows that's what I do.
Yeah.
You've seen it in the group chat. She does it to me all the fucking time.
I do it to everybody.
She does it to me all the time.
No, and it's a good
We
thing.
do it to each other all the time,
You
actually.
need to have people in your life like that, because it's one of the reasons I want to move out of Wyoming, because all I'm doing, and this is no knock on anybody who's in my life right now, but like
Screw you, Cathan.
all I'm doing, like I'm not gonna. It goes back to that. I'm not gonna heal where I got sick.
Absolutely
You know what
not.
I mean? I'm not going to continue to better myself in Douglas. I'm going to hit a plateau, and I'm not going to be able to get out of that box
Unless you find Jesus.
unless I get out of Wyoming.
Unless you find Jesus.
I'm
There's going to be a day when he does, Jessica. You got lots of people praying for you now. I want you to know that.
Sure. I'm sure I do.
Like,
and I
outside of you
appreciate it.
finding Jesus, they're praying just for you
Yeah.
in your sobriety, as you raise kids as a single dad, as you do all of
That's
the
another
things you
term I
do.
don't fucking like.
Okay,
Single
as you
dad.
raise your children as a father, I'll
Beep,
upset it.
because-
You're a dad.
No, it's the single part.
I just took single off of it for you.
What did you say?
Said as you raise kids as a father.
Yeah.
There we go. I can
Okay,
take that.
but why?
Because I'm not a single parent. Me and my ex have a great co-parenting relationship.
enough.
You know what I mean? Like,
Fair enough.
so
You're
I
a
don't.
single human who is a dad.
I am a co-parenting father.
Okay.
Which, I mean, that gets into whole like pronouns type shit, but but I just
kind of an
unfortunate
really.
thing of
I
divorce that
don't
you're
like the
fine.
term single dad, because I feel like I feel like it's a disrespectful term to
I can see that. I could totally see that.
to the woman who helps me raise our children.
No, that makes perfect sense.
And it degrades men. Like, single moms, single men degrades to some degree. Now, I'm going to caveat it with, if you truly are a single parent, there is no other parent in the
Right.
picture.
Right.
That's different. But like in your case, both of you were working together to raise your kids.
Mhm.
So you're not single parenting.
No, we're both co-parenting parents. I don't like that one either.
That's a
You're
mouthful.
parenting.
Yeah, we're parenting together.
Yeah.
Together and separately.
Yeah.
But
But your goals, your
yes,
goals are to raise
we have
good
the
kids,
exact
children.
same, as far as the kids go, we have the exact same goals.
Yeah.
To not raise pieces of shit.
Your outcomes and how you get there might be different, but as long as you get there,
yeah. No, we have very differing fucking parenting styles.
and that's okay.
Yep, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
It's almost a bonus in some instances.
It can be, because you get different perspectives.
Yeah.
Type shit. You know what I mean? We already went through all my notes.
We're at about 2 hours, so
Oh shit.
I mean, we could talk for a while.
do you got anything else you want to talk about?
Because this is like 80% of me and Jess episode.
I know.
I think you're talking less in this one than you did in the first one.
Yup.
I didn't intend that to be the case.
Sorry.
I'm telling you,
No, you're okay.
the safe word needs to be shortbread.
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 I had a funny question. Oh, I was driving home from the gym today. It fits. And I was like, well, it'd be a funny question to ask on a podcast. And it's, what are people's pet peeves?
Oh God, I have so fucking many. I already talked about one before we started recording when we were watching fucking Sister Wives or what the fuck ever, that goddamn
Trash TV.
that goddamn monstrosity.
Amber and Cathan said he wanted to record on Monday, and Amber, I told him, okay, that means you have to watch Sister Wives, then watch Sister Wives with us then.
And then they laughed at my reactions to almost fucking everything on that goddamn show.
Because he was reacting as how we felt.
So one of my biggest I'm fucking weird with voices, dude. I'm so fucking weird. Like, if someone's got a goddamn lisp or something that throws me off, like, I'm the fuck out. It just weird voices. I have a thing with fucking Southern accents, which is why.
And you put a good Texas.
which is wild because like my grandma was Southern. My mom's mom was born and raised in Southern Kentucky. So with her, it didn't bug me. But like, and I don't know if it might be an oil field related thing because every dude I talked to with a Southern accent was a goddamn piece of shit. And I don't know, like I'm fucking voices irk the fuck out of me. And bad manners. That's a new one for me now.
Yeah.
People with bad or inconsiderate, like the dude I told you about who just stood the fuck in front of my car at the bank. Like, what the fuck? I still get mad when I think about that. Like,
maybe you need to work through that one.
probably. There's something there probably that I need to process.
Pet peeve, bro? Dishonesty. Dishonesty is a really big one for me now. Because, like, why? It's so extra and it's so unnecessary and it complicates shit in a way that just life would be better without it.
Well, and the way the world is now with how we have constant communication with people.
Oh, my gosh.
You're gonna get found out.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Even when you didn't, you get found out. Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me. I got found out. What? Have I never told you how I lied about my math work? No. Okay, homeschool girl here. So
You cheated in homeschool?
woo! Hamburg.
Oh my God.
Repeatedly, and you got caught. And I got caught. And I got grounded for like a whole darn month.
How'd you get caught? How'd you cheat?
Because the answers to the word problems were literally right under him. My mom just taped a piece of scrap paper over him, and so I lifted him up and cheated because my dyslexic brain hates word problems.
Fair.
But rightfully so, I needed to be grounded and things needed to be taken away. I should not have lied, nor should I have cheated.
How'd you get caught?
Because my mom figured it out. She was like, how are you getting every answer correct?
Oh.
She's like, you're cheating. I finally fessed up to it.
Cheating at homeschool. Goddamn.
It's not that hard.
It's another pet peeve I got.
Cheating? At homeschool?
Yeah, cheating at homeschool. Apparently, that's a trigger for me. Goddamn.
I'm not the only homeschooler who's done it. Just to
I'm
clarify.
sure.
I'm not saying this to excuse it, but everybody I know has cheated at school at least once.
Yeah.
I was just making a joke about the dishonesty and you get found out. Yep, you sure do.
Yeah, you do.
I think my biggest pet peeve right now is people who say hurt people as an excuse just to be jerks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. Like,
I mean, it is true. Like, it's not a false statement.
No, but
Right.
weaponized.
But yeah, I was just
That's-
about to say,
yep,
when people
that's where
start
we
using
get
it
it
as a goddamn excuse to be shitty people, it goes back to the whole thing. And I know I said this multiple times. Having gone through trauma, being a traumatized person does not give you an excuse to be a piece of shit whenever you want.
No.
Especially if you're fucking self-aware.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you know, all right, this triggers me. This is why it triggers me. And you're still a fucking dickhead about it. Instead of, it goes back to that whole mirror thing. Like, instead of doing the work to unfuck that,
Mm-hmm.
it goes glorifying pain, glorifying your bullshit. And again, that's something I'm fucking guilty of. I think everybody is to a certain extent.
yeah.
But yeah, that I can see that being a pet peeve.
That's my pet peeve right now. Or, here's my second one. People who use sarcasm just to be jerks.
So maybe just a pet peeve in general is people using anything as an excuse to be assholes.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
if there's a thread to this episode,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's people finding excuses to be fucking pieces of shit.
And we all can. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
like, I had to have a hard conversation with my brother, and I had to wait, like, until he brought it up, one, but two, like, a month almost, because I couldn't talk about it in a way that was kind to him.
Right.
And had I still not been able to when he brought it up, I would have said, I'm sorry, I can't do this right now. And here's why. And so, like, that's the kind of level you want to get to as a person where you can go, wait, I'm not okay about this, so I'm
Yeah.
not going to talk about it
Yep.
because all I'm going to do is be mean.
Yeah, if you can get to a point where you can regulate yourself enough to be like, all right, whatever we're about to talk about I'm gonna say something fucked up,
Yeah.
and you can pull yourself away from that in a way that isn't storming off and slamming doors and
Yeah.
escalating the situation as you're trying to fucking leave,
Mm-hmm.
or as, weaponizing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it all, yeah, just people, quit justifying your shitty fucking behavior.
Agreed.
And fix yourself.
Do the hard work.
Yeah.
Find Jesus and he'll help fix you.
Go to therapy.
Jesus and therapy. It's fine.
Be transparent with yourself.
Yeah.
That's where it started for me.
Yeah.
Even before the Jesus thing.
Well, and that was a big part of me getting sober, like that first 30 days in that fucking camp. Dude, getting sober in a fucking camper sucks. Because there's no distractions. You're fucking stuck with yourself. And I'm still really, really proud of myself because I was in that camper for the first 90 days. I'm still really, really proud of myself for the fact that I never relapsed in those 90 days. It was right off ground. I could have walked to a fucking bar. And I never did. And I'm still fucking real stoked about that for myself. And it's something my fucking sobriety coach always said. You need to celebrate the victories.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not good at that. You know what I mean? I'm not good at celebrating myself, which is ironic because I don't think anybody who knows me would ever describe me as humble.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah. But when it comes to and it's probably a thing where it harkens back to like who I used to be, in the sense where this is my pain and I'm very selfish of it. I'm very protective of it. It's fucking mine. And I mean, that's why group therapy didn't work for me. That's why AA didn't work for me, because this shit's mine and I've got to deal with it myself. And it goes back to the fucking manly men doing manly shit. You know what I mean? We're not supposed to talk about our pain. And I'm sure that's a lot of it. And if there's any message I ever want to impart to any group of people that might hear it, it's dudes my age and older. Like, it's okay to talk about this shit.
Yeah.
It's okay to not be okay. And it's okay.
General.
Yeah.
Dude specifically, yes.
Yeah.
A previous
Well, I
conversation
just mean,
coming to
like,
mind.
we're like, I think I said this on the last episode I was on. Like, we're going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's a lot more visibility, but like I said earlier in this goddamn episode, it is fucking 2 clicks from some real vile shit.
That has me. I can speak to that biblically, to the healing trauma and talking about stuff and not just shoving it under the rug and pretending it doesn't exist.
Oh, I'm so glad we're in the Gospels right now. So every time you see Jesus encounter someone and heal them, we're just going to go physical. Actually, no. Let's talk Mary Magdalene. He healed demons out of her. Jesus healed those things. And he didn't say don't go talk about it. He told the Jews that he healed not to talk about it, because they would have to go to the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and they would have to do the ritual things. But the people that he healed were usually not Jews. And he told them, the Samaritan woman, she had 5 or 6 or 7 husbands. I am story hopping. Sorry, guys. And he told her about the living water he has. And he then said, go tell people. Our stories, God can heal them. We can get sober. God wants the glory from what he's done, so he wants us to go share them. I don't think we need to talk about our trauma as it's a badge. If there is nothing that's changed in our lives after 7 years or 4 years or 3 years or whatever, are we actually growing and changing, or are we sitting in the same thing and just sit soak and sour to the point where that's all we know and talk about? Or have we healed and moved past it? Because Jesus healed people and said, go and tell.
What is the biblical reason, or is there a biblical reason for unearthing and healing the trauma? Because there's a generation of people, and if you're listening, you know who you are that I'm talking to. A generation of people that they don't have to do that. Nope. Why do I need to do that?
I think Jesus...
I feel the thing. I don't like the thing. I'm ignoring the thing.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. But like, I keep thinking about like... Sorry, we're in the gospel, so that's where my brain's at right now. The man with the demons that was like outside of town, they couldn't keep him chained up. They couldn't do anything. And so let's equate our trauma to demons, just for the context. Jesus cast those out into pigs. They went over the cliff. They're gone. And that man was healed. So why wouldn't healing and talking about and working through the trauma that happened to us or that we inflicted on ourselves or whatever it is not actually be good? Now, I don't think you need to talk about it with everyone you meet. I definitely think depending on the level, you need a trained trauma counselor, not just some biblical counselor or some random counselor, but you need to be very specific. And maybe you don't need a counselor. Maybe you need an accountability partner and a trusted friend. But dealing with it and listening to that person and walking through it. And so,
And you need someone, and you've talked about this, you need someone who, if you text them or you call them, they don't just say, go talk to someone. Motherfucker, I'm talking to you.
Right, exactly.
I called
That's
you
what I
for
was
a
thinking,
goddamn
yeah.
reason. And again, that it goes back to me saying I'm very, very blessed in the circle that I have. I could call Endon Holbrook right now and be like, dude, I need you. If I was up here, he would fucking drive up here and come get me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think what Jess is trying to ask is if there is a biblical statement or biblical meaning behind reaching out to your friends or reaching out to someone, right?
I mean, kind of to an extent. So, trying to talk around this, even though the person I'm talking about will know who I'm talking about if they listen to this. I know a lot of people who have had some pretty significant things happen to them in their life, and it is manifesting in their current life in ways, and they they don't believe that they need to even talk about it or consider it ever again. It's like out of sight, out of mind. But it is very obviously still manifesting. And if you need to know what I'm talking about,
I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to...
Did this get brought up over dinner?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yep.
Okay.
I knew what she was talking about when she asked. The thought that keeps coming to mind is trauma is such a hard one, specifically when trauma was done to you, as to where almost all of the instances in the Bible, except for the demon possessed, which is why I was kind of going there with it, are consequences of our own choices. And so, like, the idea of being stuck in sin, until the Bible says confess to one another, maybe that confessing is more than just sin. Maybe that confessing is confessing trauma that happened. Like, I know people in my life who, like myself, like, I'm going to show a picture to, did you see my post today?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see my post today?
I commented on it.
Oh, you did? Okay, sorry, I'm sorry, my bad.
Oh, shit.
3 years ago.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
We've traded pictures. I showed her cowboy kid and I got that one.
Yeah.
So I posted on my all of my socials actually today, a picture of me from a little over 3 years ago. And I cropped the picture on purpose because my best friend's daughter, who I call my niece, is in it. And I then took a picture of myself and I was walking on the treadmill today going, 3 years ago, I couldn't have even walked a mile. And I booked it, man. I did a mile in 22 minutes.
Heck yeah.
Like the goal is 3 miles in 45 minutes. So 3 years ago, I couldn't have done that. 3 years ago, I had 510 pounds. 3 years ago, I was leaving a marriage that was literally killing me. I could barely walk up the stairs when I got home. Like thank God for my parents upstairs because it whooped my butt right into shape. But the thing that changed is I went to therapy and I got a therapist who is trauma trained and specialized, who for me loves the Lord before everything else. And she gave me the toolbox I needed to work through things. So when triggers happen, I'm not sitting in them. So I don't know if there is a biblical outright statement, but if you are walking through something and it is literally destroying your life or it's manifesting an addiction of some sort, it needs to be dealt with because you're putting that above God. You're putting your trauma, you're putting your addiction, you're putting whatever above God. I haven't stepped on the scale this month because I just refuse at this point. I'm just going to watch my clothes fall off. It's fine. At this point, I've lost about 140 pounds in 3 years. And the work that I've done for myself or done in myself is more transformative and has given me more life than losing the weight. Can you speak to how God has been in that journey for you? Yeah, so I shared. So 6 months after my divorce was finalized, I went back to Texas and I stayed for 6 weeks to work with my boss, to watch her kid, to watch their house while they went on vacation and do some things. And in that, the Sunday school class that my ex and I had been a part of asked me to share what God was doing. And so I wrote and I kind of wrote this step by step of what happened. And I kept going, man, Lord, nothing's coming out. And then I used the names of God, which is the character traits of God, to walk through what I had done. And one of them, I think I shared it on socials, but the first Sunday there, I walked into service and my ex was there. And it's the first time we'd been to church since since 2 or 3 weeks after our divorce was finalized. Like, he lost everybody all on his own. I literally froze. I had a panic attack. And in the midst of that, the tools my counselor gave me centered me on God. And so I don't remember what the sermon was that day. I couldn't tell you. I can't even tell you worship. I literally sat there and read the Psalms and I prayed and I asked God to come be in that moment. And I was sitting in my car because I didn't miss counseling. I was going once a week. Didn't miss that with my counselor. And because I was staying with my best friend and her husband. And so I went outside in my car to have privacy. I was like, I don't need you two hear none of this. But I said, I feel like I have one foot on the solid rock. So there's a story in the Bible about building your house on a firm foundation and not a foundation of sand. And I said, I feel like I have one foot on a foundation that is solid, but is shifting and has sand on it. And I said, it feels like things are shifting away. I told her, I said, it feels like trauma. Like, I feel like I'm studying and then this trauma resurfaces and everything shifts again. And, she pointed out, I wish I had the exact words. Take me too long to find, that my body experienced a response. But because of the work I'd done, I had the tools to go to God and to sit with God and work through it instead of I wanted to run. I was ready to pack my bags and leave. And I had committed to house sitting for somebody. I'd committed to watching her kid for a week while they were at a business conference, watching their house for a week while they were on vacation as a family and watching their dog. So I had commitments there. And so I couldn't run, but I wanted to. Everything in my body was like, I'm done. I'm out. I don't want to do this. I don't want to see him. And so she showed me how the willingness to sit with God. I don't even know if I'm making sense at this point.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Was the peace that I needed to be able to go, okay, if he shows up at church next week, you'll deal with it. You'll work through it. And you can do this because you are not doing this. God is. The shifting sand on this one foot, and my feet are on two different foundations, is all the things that are not of him, all the trauma, all of the pieces that are needing to die, die to self, that are coming out, and they are what is falling away so the firm foundation can still be there.
Can you speak to this from a recovery situation or the recovery perspective?
I mean, it sounds like you said, you used your toolbox in that moment. And it's one of those things that isn't a toolbox you would have had you not gone to someone.
I mean, more talking to answering the question of why a person should heal their trauma?
I mean, people need to heal their trauma because, like you were saying earlier, it manifests in so many different ways. My shit manifested in alcoholism and in self-destructive behavior. You know what I mean? It was my goal to blow up everything. I would get to points where I would actively think, man, life's so good right now. I've got to fuck it up before something else fucks it up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if I hadn't healed my trauma, and I'm still working on it, I'm currently healing my trauma because it's an everyday type of thing. You're going to continue living in those spaces, like you said, where you would have just bolted.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You would have ignored those obligations you had. You would have just bounced.
Mm-hmm.
You can't keep living in the trauma. You can't keep holding on to it. You've got to be able to get yourself to where you can process the trauma in a healthy way, regardless of what that looks like, whether that's you and me talking or you going to a therapist or whatever. I'm with Amber, though. I think when it comes to deep, deep trauma, you've got to find someone who's trained in how to handle that shit. You're just going to keep bleeding on those around you, one way or another.
For people listening, if you could give them a tool to identify, both of you, this is a question for both of you. If you could give them a tool to identify if there is something that is that they're holding on to that is manifesting in a way that is holding them back or negatively impacting their lives, what advice would you give them?
Like, what advice would I give them to
pick
pick up on that? Like,
yes, what tool would you give them to identify that it's even a problem in the first place? What do you go to for comfort?
Yeah, no shit. That's a good one.
Like mine is food. Like, do you realize how much that sucks? That the thing you need to stay alive is the thing you want.
Well, we talked about that on my episode. Like, my thing, you can't quit fucking eating. You know what I mean? Like, you can't get sober from fucking food.
Right? Like, I think there's other ways to, like, I'll go down a little bit of a different road. There are some things that people say are trauma that are just life that happens to you. But if you have been physically or sexually abused, if you have been homeless, if you have been, like, most of this falls under the physical and the abuse category. Like if your parents didn't take care of you, if you were in a marriage where it was mental, emotional, verbal, physical, spiritual, financial, any of those were being done to you in a marriage or by your parents or by someone else. Like, it doesn't have to be your parents. It doesn't have to be a marriage. It could have been an aunt, an uncle, a friend, a cousin, a whatever. If that happened to you and you have not gone to deal with it, that is a good sign that you need to, because it's going to manifest in food and alcohol, in drugs, in
another
shopping,
thing in that same
social
vein,
media.
In that same vein of what do you go to for comfort is what are you projecting onto other people?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, another thing you can do is, like, everybody's got someone in their life that they just don't like. You know what I mean? Figure out what it is about that person that you don't like and figure out why you don't fucking like it. It kind of goes back to looking to the mirror. You know what I mean? There's an aspect of this person that I can't fucking stand. Why don't I? There were people we went to high school with, and I'll tell you who you'll probably figure out who I'm talking about as I talk about it. But our personalities were so goddamn similar, I couldn't fucking stand it. And I used to joke around that I would not be my own friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know myself well enough to know that if I was stuck in a room with myself, I'd fuck it. In the past, I would fucking hate me. I didn't process it like that. I just looked at it as, I don't fucking like this dude. And it's because our personalities were incredibly similar. And so that was my self-loathing being projected onto somebody else. You know what I mean? And at 15, 16 years old, you don't know what that fucking is, especially if you're not going to therapy.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know we talked about how we hate people saying hurt people, but that was very much in my hurt people fucking phase.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't excuse, doesn't justify, it explains, but it doesn't make it all right.
Let me caveat that. Hurt people. I hate that when you know there's something you've done that's wrong or something done to you. So like, there's a trauma in your life. And so
Yeah, if you're aware of it and you're still
doing it,
yeah.
that's when it drives me nuts. But if
Yeah.
you're not aware of it and you have no clue that you're hurting the people around you because you are hurt, or you were like, even if you refuse to deal with it, like that's in the vein of my pet peeve and my annoyances.
Yeah.
There's something wrong. It's been brought up to you. It's been brought to your attention. You see the destruction around you, like in all of your relationships. Like I can tell you when the abuse was happening to Max, I was not healthy in any way because I was literally in survival mode. And so I was not cultivating relationships with people. Like Jessica and his friendship would not have been a thing. Sarah, God bless her that she stuck with me because I was not a great person to be around.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was depressed, I was anxious, I was miserable, I was taking out things on people that didn't deserve it. And so like the people who've stuck with me from the time I got married until now, there's 4 of them. And I'm so thankful for them. Like there's more that I still talk to, but these are people who I talk to regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know what? You guys saw something.
Well, there's a difference between people. There's a difference between people who've been in your life for a long time and people who are fucking ride or die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Jess is a ride or die. We've had hot and cold fucking moments. And I'm sure I projected a lot of my bullshit onto you at certain points.
Well, I'm sure I did it back to you.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so having that fucking, and you're going to love the term I'm going to use, having that grace with your friends and the people in your lives
mm-hmm.
is quintessential to recovery. You need a support network.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's another aspect of why I want to start giving back to people, because I know for a fact that there are people who are not as lucky as I've been to have the support network that I've had.
How do you find the support network if you don't feel like you can trust people?
That's difficult. I mean, the main thing is just reaching out. You know what I mean? I've had people reach out on Facebook. You know what I mean? People I would not have expected. You just got to reach out. I mean, and when you're in recovery, you find your tribe. You do. And if you don't find it, it finds you. You know what I mean? And I mean, it kind of goes back to the whole, I should have been a Nazi type thing with my being bullied. Like, luckily, some kid in podunk middle of fuck nowhere, Wyoming found punk rock and found a community that steered me away from what could have been a very, very different outcome. So my tribe found me. And I know a lot of people aren't that lucky that they get that. And another aspect of that is I know how lonely sobriety and recovery can get. Even when you have a support network, because you don't want to feel like a burden. You know what I mean? Even when people know and people are 100% supportive. I've told my parents this multiple times. I know I'm not a burden, but it doesn't change the way my brain is making me feel right now.
Oh, 1,000%.
And I can't help how it's making me feel right now. So let me say sorry for asking you for fucking money again, and just say it's okay. You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now my brain is telling me that I'm being a fucking anchor. And I'll get over it, and I'll call you back probably in less than an hour and apologize for apologizing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so if there are people out there who are at their wits' end with their trauma, and they're at the point where they know they're fucking not just their own life, but the lives of those around them, and they know that, just reach out to fucking anybody.
And don't stop reaching out.
Yeah, and don't stop reaching out. And if you're being reached out to, if you're the person getting reached out to, don't just fucking tell them to talk to somebody, because they're calling you right now.
Absolutely.
You don't have to have advice. You don't have to have the right answers. Half the fucking time, you just need to listen. Just let a motherfucker vent.
Listen the way you wish to be heard.
Yep. You just need to shut the fuck up and let them feel heard, seen, accepted, and appreciated.
Do you have how does a person find a support system if they have a very difficult time trusting people? swear I'm thinking awkward
I know,
silence.
I know.
I'm sorry, podcast people.
I mean,
They can't see my brain.
sometimes it's not even about trust because I am an inherently distrusting person. Sometimes it's just about knowing the hope you can give someone just by answering the fucking phone. It doesn't. They don't have to trust you. They don't have to give you all the details. They might not even talk about the trauma in that moment. They just want to know they have a fucking lifeline.
But being the person that's reaching out, if you're the person that has a hard time trusting people and that is stopping you from reaching out to people, how do you overcome that?
I think that's so hard because I echo everything Cathan says minus the F-bombs.
Don't let her bullshit you. She fucking said it.
Rude. It's like, at least it's not getting outed on your birthday that you're drinking wine to your mom. It's fine. Sarah's going to kill me for that later. Here's the other thing I would say is be the person that will sit with someone. Just sit. Like it's basically what Cathan is saying, but like, can I get vulnerable and real? No.
She almost said it. Oh my God, it was right fucking there. I saw the F word forming.
For real, that's good.
Yeah, that's not what you were going to say.
Of course you can, Am. Jessica and I have talked a lot, and we probably talked about it on the vulnerability episode, but we talked about it a lot, that her struggle with therapy is everybody just tells her to go to therapy. Also, there has been more than one incident in her life where someone she should be able to trust has not been trustworthy. And so that makes it really hard. And so this is a part of friendship, which is why her and Cathan have been friends for so long. And why her and I have now been friends for like a year and a half. And we're doing this crazy podcast is it goes back to our vulnerability episode. It goes back to our episode that comes out tomorrow. It is just what you said. Listen the way you want to be heard. And I started accountability partners with my ladies, so I didn't have to listen to all their drama.
Fuck yeah.
I love you all.
The tea.
I love you all. But, and so when I did that, I was really strategic with who I paired with who. And so I've told this to Jessica. If Jen ever listens to this, she'll hear it. I paired Jessica with Jen because Jessica and Jen, like, they needed each other. I got to watch them work together one night. And I saw how that relationship just blossomed. And so I knew that God placed that moment so that they could like grow a friendship. Mm-hmm. And Jen's married with kids at graduating, like Korea, and this is graduating high school this year. So she's not our age. She's our parents' age. Maybe not quite as old as our parents. Sorry, Jen, my bad.
You're going to get a nasty gram for that one. I am not that fucking old.
She probably won't listen. She likes podcasts that get straight to the point. We meander too much.
We meander a lot.
We do. But I think it comes to trust until you've proven not trustworthy. So like you and I, we've had some kerfuffles. We've dealt with them. And we've remained consistent and faithful. You and Cathan probably have had some kerfuffles. Mm-hmm. You've dealt with them. You've remained consistent and faithful. There are people in your life who have done harm to you that you don't have to trust. But like, so for everybody else, until someone proves they're not trustworthy, trust it.
Disagree.
Why?
Because I don't fucking trust people. I mean, I disagree from a personal standpoint. You know what I mean? I'm very much the opposite of that. I'm like, don't trust a motherfucker until they prove that they're worthy.
So how do they prove they're worthy?
Oh, fuck if I know.
Now we're back to Jess's original question.
Time.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think like when it came to me personally and my issues with trust and shit, and I started talking about this and then we meandered on my episode. Like I called 2 people when I got out of jail. Now, my dad was already there. I didn't have to call him or he would have been the first phone call. The first person I called when I got out of jail was my oldest daughter because they were out in California at the time. But the second person I called was my now sobriety coach. And the reason I called her, it wasn't a trusting. She was the only person I knew at that point who had any length in sobriety. She was the only, I didn't fucking know anybody in Douglas to reach out to. So I had to call someone in Texas that I hadn't talked to in probably 5 years at all. And it like I said, the thing was she answered and I told her what happened and I bawled, you know what I mean? Like I was so fucked up at that point mentally and emotionally that I just needed someone to hear me. You know what I mean? I just needed someone to fucking listen. I didn't need them to have answers. I didn't need them to give me advice. I just needed someone to listen. And for all I knew at that point, and I even thought this, I didn't say it out loud to her, and if I had, she would have whipped my ass. But for all I knew, she put me on speakerphone and just fucking set her phone and just let me go. You know what I mean? But in that moment, that opened a lot of doors for just that phone call alone, and being heard and feeling heard opened other doors for me. You know what I mean?
Vulnerability opened the door.
Yeah. Being vulnerable with someone opened the door for me to be vulnerable with other people.
Right.
If I hadn't called Kara in that moment and felt heard and felt listened to and felt appreciated and loved and cared for, I don't think I would have gone. I would have done the probation minimum of therapy.
Right.
I would have done relapse prevention and I would have called her good.
So you said 5 years. You hadn't talked to her in 5 years.
Yeah.
So you were going off of an old relationship and you still trusted her.
Yep.
To be a safe person, and you had no clue.
Yep.
For all you knew, she could have been sitting at a bar.
Like I said, for all I knew at that point, she could just take the phone, put me on speakerphone, and just fucking.
And so that goes back to my statement of trust people until they prove untrustworthy.
God damn it!
Because I'm sitting here playing devil's advocate, I guess, in my brain, and thinking of the people who could listen to this and be like, "Well, everybody's hurt me. Everybody's let me down. I don't have any safe people. Like I only have a few safe people."
Here's what I'll say, and you've tagged me on your Facebook and on the podcast Facebook. Here's what I'll say right now, and this is something that my sobriety coach, she didn't say it to me. She made a post when she hit 7 years sober and made it fucking about my goddamn 1 year because our shit, I think her sobriety date's like the 17th of August and mine's the 11th.
Oh man.
And so I
sounds like another God thing.
Fuckers. But it was, and I fucking mean this with my whole fucking chest. If you don't know who to reach out to me. If I don't have the answers, I will find someone who has the fucking answers. You know what I mean? And I fucking mean that. That's anybody who's listening to this shit. If you're in a moment, if you're fucking suicidal, if you're fucking dealing with addiction issues, if you just don't think you can quit drinking, first off, you fucking can. I don't know you, but I believe in you. And like I said, if you don't know who to reach out to me. And if I don't know if I'm not the person you need to be talking to, if I don't have the answers you need, I can find out who the fuck does, and I can get you in touch with them.
I know Jessica and I have said that before too.
Maybe not publicly, but
maybe it was on the last episode we said it.
I don't know. Yeah,
it's
a thing I've consistently posted on the internet.
I just don't want anyone to ever feel like I did the day before I tried to kill myself. You know what I mean? I don't ever want anyone to feel like that. Because in that moment, fully logic was out the window, but logically, I knew I could have called you. I could have called my dad. I could have called Endon. I could have called Frank. You know what I mean? There's a list this fucking long of motherfuckers I could have called. But in that moment, I didn't feel like I had a fucking soul. And that is fucking terrifying.
This is me being spicy. This is coming from a non-Christian person. So, Christians, step up your game.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We're supposed to be the safe people too.
And we are probably the least safe people out there for most people.
Yep.
I mean, it all goes, in that vein, as far as another reason I reached out to Kara is because I knew I wouldn't get judged.
Right.
You know what I mean? That in the aspect that she was so but also in the aspect that she is also not religious.
Mhm.
Because in the other times that I tried to quit drinking and failed, I'd reached out to pastors. I'd reached out to people I knew were religious because I was just looking for fucking anything. And instead of feeling welcomed or listened to or heard, I felt fucking judged. You know what I mean? I felt like they were looking down instead of trying to lift me up to their level. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Did I
absolutely
fucking
does.
verbalize that correctly? And
Do you
so,
think so?
No, 100%. I'm
Okay.
counting in my head.
Oh,
Sorry.
fucks?
No. No, I am counting the people I know at church who've walked through addiction and got sober and going, how do I get Cathan in a room with him? So that he can see people who love the Lord, follow Jesus, and we're going to look at them and go, great, we love you, and no more. Because 90% of Christians don't understand sobriety and addiction because they've never walked through it. Because, well, maybe not 90, maybe 50% at this point because the church has shifted. But growing up in the church, I didn't understand it till I was an adult. And I still don't fully understand it in the same way that you've had to.
Right. Well, I think a lot of that is, I think a big part of it is, and this might be me blanketing when I shouldn't, but fuck it, here we are. I think a lot of people, especially when you start getting into the hierarchy of the church, when you start getting into pastors or priests or, whatever your milieu is, those are motherfuckers that not only haven't walked through addiction, they haven't walked through fucking trauma either. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of people not knowing who to reach out to because they don't see a kindred spirit.
Right. Yeah. That's why I was counting people in my head at my church that I know that you would probably walk into a room and go, man, I relate to you.
Because the
get you.
truth is probably more Christians than you would expect have dealt with all this hard stuff. But because of the weird thing that Christians do where they believe they have to look perfect,
yeah,
they don't talk about it. When the Bible tells us our testimony is extremely powerful, like we're supposed to share our testimony with people for this exact reason. So people who are struggling, who aren't believers, can see a kindred spirit and can feel welcomed and ask questions and live life with us.
And I mean, I've never walked into a church in Douglas, I'll specify, that I fully felt welcomed at. You know what I mean?
I haven't.
And
in any place.
I have felt welcomed by individuals. I have felt welcomed by pastors. You know what I mean? But I have not walked into and felt welcomed by an entire congregation.
No, I understand.
Because
I don't even know if that's possible.
Honestly, that's not possible. I think churches that look messy or that are messy, like my church, because of how many people we have that just go, yep, this is mine.
I love a fucking messy person.
Oh, we're so messy.
I fucking love a messy person. I love a messy bitch.
Well, we are. I think you would find that easier there, but there is still this disconnect. Man, I feel spicy about the American church. With a lot of churches, specifically in this area, Douglas, Glen Rock, Casper, Evansville, Mills, Bar None, Mountain View. Got it. I think I covered the whole area. Where we still live in such a sheltered bubble that we don't see the other people.
Yeah.
Like, and because I lived in Texas and I went to a church that was so vastly different than anything here, and it was a Southern Baptist church, which means they still held to a lot of beliefs that all the Baptist churches around here hold to. The worship pastor literally has tattoos. Like he comes from a story of addiction and different things. And I don't know his full story, but he's told a little bit of it. And so you could relate to that pastor.
Yeah.
Because he's walked through things and done things and he's come out on the other side. But churches here don't have that. I think there might be a Lutheran church in town where the priest or whatever he is was in addiction and maybe even went to jail. But I don't know for sure. I'd have to.
Well, I mean, and I say that, like I said, very sweepingly.
Yeah,
but you also see that shit in the recovery circle. You see that shit in the recovery community too. Yeah. You, like I said, I did not feel fucking welcome at AA. I did not feel when I was younger and was going to court-appointed, mandated group therapy, I didn't fucking feel welcome there. And I mean, the gnarliest experience I had was in group, the fucking counselor tell me I needed to cut ties with my parents because they were bad for my sobriety.
Oh my gosh.
And
when you were getting sober?
no, this was when I was like fucking 20.
Okay.
I was on probation for my last minor in possession ticket that I got. Underage drinking. And they told me I needed to cut ties with my parents because they drank and they were bad for my sobriety. And I fucking snapped. This is how old Cathan handled shit like that. Cathan now would have probably just been like, all right, you're not the one for me. I got to go.
Yeah.
20-year-old Cathan said, if you ever talk about my parents again to a woman that I'd met for maybe 30 minutes, said, if you ever talk about my parents again, I'm going to gut you like a fucking fish.
Glad we've grown past that.
And rightfully, she told me to leave.
Yeah.
And I got home and my PO called me fucking immediately. And she was like, what the fuck? Why are you threatening to murder your goddamn therapist? And I explained it to her, and I guess it's a small benefit of being from such a small town. She knew my relationship with my parents. She knew how close I was to my mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh, yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah, no, that checks. Maybe a little excessive, maybe a little goddamn aggressive, you little fucking psycho. But she goes, okay, we will set you, maybe that place is not for you. We'll send you to this. And that other therapist still obviously didn't fucking work on anything for real. It was court mandated, and that's exactly how I took it.
Because you didn't want it.
I didn't want it at that point. Fuck no. At 20, hell no, dude. I was still partying my ass off. I was lucky to be passing drug tests at fucking work at that point. Like, I was showing up to work, like, still drunk from the night before type shit.
Yeah.
And so that unwelcomeness and that judgment, that's not just a Christian church
No,
thing.
it's a people problem.
It's a people thing, and I mean, you even see it with, like, the big recovery influencers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, someone will pop in their comments on a TikTok or some shit like that, and they'll get fucking snide with something.
Right.
And it's like, what the fuck, dude?
I see people, and I hear people say all the time, like, oh, I went to that church, and it just felt like home. And I have never experienced that.
Yeah.
Not a single time. It's because you haven't been to Cross City. Yeah, it's like at this point, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
It's shifted too, like growing up in the church has shifted. And I don't even know how to explain how it shifted, but
in a good way or in a bad way?
both.
Or yes and.
Kind of, it's a yes and, it's a both and. Yeah, and so I don't know if like home is even an option anymore. Like I would hope that our Bible study on Thursday night feels like home to you to some degree. Like I know there's some, I know, but we all, like, let's be honest, if we're going to consider the church, air quoting, as a family, air quoting again, we don't get along with our families perfectly.
Well, right. I mean, the real honesty is nothing feels like home anymore.
Well,
we can go down that rabbit.
The other aspect of it is if you're going to get a group of more than fucking 3 goddamn people together, there's going to be tension.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's going to be fucking dislikes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 3 of us in here right now, and I'm sure we could talk about some shit that would cause some goddamn tension.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's finding your fucking people. Like, you two found each other, right?
Very much so.
And, you know, I've got my tribe, you know, and I hope to either expand that tribe or make another separate tribe with my fucking sober D&D shit, because that would be sick.
And that's really cool.
Yeah, I would love to be able to do that. You know what I mean? And the thing that sucks is that the only D&D they have in Douglas is at the library with middle schoolers and high schoolers, and a 37-year-old showing up to that. That's fucking bad optics.
Yeah, a little bit.
That does not look good. I'm not doing
not do
that.
that.
No, that's a bad plan. That's how you get on a list. There's this creepy guy in a dumb hat here at D&D every week, Dad.
Bloody mustache.
This slutty mustache. That's how you get your ass kicked by somebody's dad.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Just walking out and get fucking curb stomped.
We're not in the right demographic of people that I have found for that to be something people like D&D to be something people do around here. It feels like it's
There's a huge D&D community in Cathan.
Yeah, see, and I've got a buddy and it's another one of those fucking wild things. Like, he added me on Facebook, and it was a dude I worked with at Outback Steakhouse when I was in fucking college. And, like, he owns a game store here in Casper.
Which
and
one?
I don't know.
Who is he?
Oh, I'll show you.
Because I probably know exactly who it is.
Knowing Jessica Spread.
I was actually talking to him the other night.
Jessica, like, knows everybody.
I know a lot of people. Okay, nope, that's not who I thought.
Okay. Which one does he own, though? I don't remember. Don't remember the name of it. But I was telling him my idea of getting a monthly game going just for sober people.
Mhm.
Specifically sober people who don't go to AA.
Who are over the age of 18.
Yes.
We need to require that.
Yeah. Need to see
Like,
some
18
ideas.
might even be the, like,
That's
low
pushing
end of the
it, yeah.
limit.
But he was like, well, if you guys are willing to travel, he goes, I'm not a big drinker, and like, that's not a big part of my life or anything. Like, I could DM you guys a game. I go, yeah, that'd be great in the fucking 3 months of not shit roads we get consistently every year.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would just be awesome if I could just playing D&D with my kids.
Yeah.
If I could get to a point where I'd be comfortable doing a long story just for sober people.
I'm going to tell you the thing that I remembered I was going to tell you.
Yay!
And we teased it in the group text a while ago. And Amber and I didn't talk about me putting this out. Whatever.
It's fine. Go for it.
Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah, this.
Valentine's Day.
You asked that question. I'm on board.
We have a idea. And the idea is a singles event, but not like to meet.
Right. You kind of explain, not with the specific.
Yes.
With dating, not at the forefront. You're not trying to make couples.
What?
Yeah.
Single people hanging out with each other.
Right.
With one another. We want to do speed friending and
instead of speed dating or speed
friending and a bad movie night.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Fuck.
We've already picked the movie.
What movie?
Is that the one we're going with?
You were all on board.
I know. But then it was like,
we'll tell you after, just in case we change our mind.
You fucking better.
We will.
She'll even show you all the things she's already done.
Yeah.
Speaking of, when we do the movie Mayhem, whatever it is, when I watch.
You made me watch this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one. What did I call it?
Movie Mayhem?
Movie Mayhem? I kind of like that.
That'll be the one with him.
There we go.
It will definitely be Mayhem.
It's got to be that movie.
Well, yeah, duh. Lunchbox has a movie he wants to watch with it. He wants to watch Idiocracy with that.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Everyone wants me to watch all these movies that I've never watched.
That's because it's so much fun showing people movies and you haven't seen any of them.
What we're doing, there's a term for what we're doing.
What is it?
Pebbling.
Indoctrinating?
No, we're pebbling. We are taking things that we love and we are presenting them to you as gifts.
Oh, penguin.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Because the movie I want to watch was fucking formative.
Oh, I'm sure.
Is it horror?
No.
Okay, good. We're good. We watched a 20-minute synopsis of Hellraiser.
Oh, yeah. She just told me about, you need to watch the whole movie.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I will not make them watch horror movies.
I will be keeping someone awake when they're supposed to be sleeping because I will be having nightmares.
I work nights. Fucking text me.
Like,
no horror movies yet.
Like, I can't do it. Like, it does not.
Black Snake Bone was too much, so now I've got
fair.
Now that I've watched it, I'm fine.
Well, no, I know, but it gives me the bar.
The line.
That was that was a gnarly one to fucking. When you told me that's what you were fucking starting with, I'm pretty sure my reaction was ... What the fuck?
The best part about that is I prayed about it. That's the one that I got. It's like, yep, do this one.
It was actually ended up being a really full episode.
It's a good movie.
And
the
really
conversation around it was really good.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to figure out what the next one I'm going to make her watch is, because,
So your computer is getting close to being done, and we're at almost 3 hours.
Oh, fuck.
I have
3 hours.
It's one question for you, and then she can take us out. I just decided while we're talking, this is going to be a thing that I do now. Give me a question to ask the next guest.
Oh, shit. Okay. I like that. That's fucking dope.
Thanks.
You're a thinker.
Do you want it on air, or do you want it
on air?
After, okay. Or afterwards.
Either of them, don't know who it's going to be yet for sure, but they're not going to listen to this one. I don't think.
Well, it's probably not going to be out by the time they.
Well, but it's coming out next Wednesday, so maybe this will be our next one. We don't have any more unless we record one this weekend.
The next one. What is something that you didn't think you would make it through that you fucking made it through?
Okay, I'm gonna write that down.
Exact wording. I want the fucking.
Okay, then. Jessica's gonna ask a question. So if she wants to say it, she can.
If Amber asks it, I want the question. I want the fucking.
So if I say it, it doesn't have to.
You don't have to.
fucking.
No, because you just said it just now.
I didn't say the fuck word.
Exactly. But if Amber asks the question, she has to say fucking.
Good thing it's on Jessica's phone.
I'm not even gonna write that down, so I don't remember.
Now you're good.
I'll remember it as you ask it, and I'll be like, God, Jessica has that. Are you ready for me?
What the? Yes.
We're glad you're here. This isn't about having the answers. It's about being honest, because grace doesn't start with those who have it all figured out. It starts with we who were not.